when you have bad period pains, it feels like someone is ripping out your insides. But women, you have a gift. We have a cycle, and once you know how to understand that cycle, feed it, so good food, know how to move, when to know to back off, I think we are at a slight advantage. I'm Nika Vorster. I have a master's in horse chiropractic. I'm a GB PSG rider, ex-flat jockey, and I'm on a mission to help over 1 million horses around the world. And I'm going to be doing this by showing people that any horse can be healed by healing yourself. One of the myths I want to really bust is that riding is enough to keep me fit.
And it's not?
It's not. Especially for those of us that are listening that are struggling to figure out what's going on with their horse, it's because you're missing the patterns. You need to learn to listen to your horse, and the only way you can do that is if you get off riding, get off their back and watch them.
So, Nika, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So for anybody who doesn't know who you are and what you do in the equestrian sector, can you give us a bit of a background about you?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Nika Vorster. I have a master's in horse chiropractic. I'm a GB PSG rider, ex-flat jockey, and I'm on a mission to help over 1 million horses around the world.
Wow.
And I'm going to be doing this by showing people that any horse can be healed by healing yourself.
Wow. Okay, that's a good statement. I like that.
That is the mission.
So, like with anything, where do you even start with something, with something like that? Because that's a big ask. That's a big ask.
It is, yeah. I've been in the equestrian industry for over 36 years. That's my age, and been through everything from pony club to show jumping, eventing, dressage, flat jockeying, and I got to the point where I was like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Why do we do this? And I just kept questioning. I'm quite a curious person. I do a lot of asking questions, working with horses in terms of looking at their behaviors. And then in summary, if you want to know the end point, I just realized that it's not all about the horse as much as we friggin' love them. And I know one of your questions was, how did I get into being a horse lover? And I suppose this can help answer the other question, which is, someone asked me the other day, they said, when did you first love horses? And I was like, trying to think of that moment of maybe I first saw a horse, or I don't know, maybe I touched a horse and that was it. But having grown up in South Africa, my dad being a racehorse trainer, it's probably around them. But I genuinely feel like I'm a horse in a human's body. That's probably the best way to describe it. And I know that sounds really wacky, but there is so much love in my body for all animals, really. But we're obviously talking about horses today. There's just so much love and passion that I know my life is not about me. My life is to create impact and change and help these four-legged beings. And riding being a competitive sport, no matter, even if you're someone who just enjoys hacking, it's a partnership. Mm-hmm. And the more I'm in this industry, the more I've realized we as riders have to take responsibility for our health. We have to start taking responsibility on how we show up for our best friend, because they are our mirrors. They mirror everything we do. And the more we start to focus on what we do, how we show up, how we react, how we eat, how we interact, the horses are reading everything that we do. Now, if you said this to me when I was, early on, I would have been like, yeah, whatever, I just want to go ride my pony. That's what life was about, right? Home from school, building jumps, riding my pony. But having done this, especially as a therapist and a competitive rider, I'm always left with that question of, why do horses let us ride them?
Yeah.
Why do they?
If you can answer that question, I have no idea.
I'm still asking. I'm still curious, because most of us, especially when we first see a horse, we're like, wow, they just have some captivating, I don't know what it is, energy or presence that sends someone like me all gooey, personally. But I know other people that maybe not a horsey will look at a horse and go, oh, they're huge. Mm-hmm. Like, how do you ride this powerful being? And you're like, I don't know. I just ride it.
Yeah.
And then you think, the flip side of that is I've worked with some quote unquote dangerous horses. We can go on to that later on about behaviors and natural horsemanship. And I've always recognized that. Has anyone seen the film The Horse Whisperer?
I've never seen it. Obviously, I don't know why I've not seen it. I should have. I'll put it on my list.
Highly recommended. I only watched it the weekend. And side note, the reason I don't watch horse films is because I don't like horses being injured on a
Oh,
movie.
War Horse.
I
Have
cry.
you seen that?
I cry.
I was bawling my eyes out
I
in that
can't do
movie.
it. I just can't do it. So I avoid them. And I watched it at the weekend, the original with Robert Redford. And he sums it up in about the first conversation that he has with the lady who brings the traumatized horse to him to be fixed. And he says, lady, I don't deal with horse problems. Horses are easy. Humans are the problem.
Mm,
And
yeah.
I was just like, okay, I'm hooked.
So you want that's your sort of like, you want to be the horse whisperer.
I want to combine it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Don't want to call myself the whisperer, but I definitely recognize, and I've seen it, I've felt it, that when we as riders start to take a bit more of a shift on how we approach our horses and even the questions we ask, the conversation changes.
Mhm. Well, this is we're getting to all
Very
of
well.
that sort of stuff. I've got all this sort of these amazing questions, which are really excited for you to answer. But going back to that question that you ask yourself, like, well, why do horses let us ride them? And not that I don't get on horses anymore because I think this size is a bit cruel to to go on.
Never say
Unless
never.
it's a shy horse. But if you ever come close to answering that question,
The more I ask that question and ask different people about that question, from Olympic level riders to people who just own horses and don't ride them, everyone hits a blank.
hmm
And everyone goes, oh, I just love him.
yeah,
And then I think the kind of science behind it, I'm thinking we are hardwired as humans for connection.
yeah,
We are hardwired to be in a tribe, feeling like we're contributing to a tribe. And horses, in a very powerful way, being non-verbal speakers, I believe give us that sense of connection, being part of something, no matter who you are. They
mhm,
don't judge you. They don't judge you for how you look. They don't judge you for how you show up. They take you for what you bring to them on that day. And I think it's something so powerful in the horse world that when people really ask themselves, I think it's the connection.
mhm,
And I think that's why we absolutely are obsessed with horses,
yeah,
to the point of spending endless amounts of money. I know people who will bankrupt themselves to figure out what's going on with their horse. And I ask myself why they do it. And I think it's because they feel part of something.
mhm.
And we all, as human beings, want to feel like we're part of something bigger than what you see in front of you.
I think that's quite true.
Mm.
Because I think again, I know we're very early into diving into this deep, but I, from being in the horse industry for so many years, and the world that we're living in today, depression, social, people can't connect with people, they don't have friends, they don't know how to make friends. I think that horses hold such a key to solve most of these issues because you get your social, you get your exercise, you get your purpose. And I'd love to be able to somehow explain to people who are maybe having these issues that literally just go down to a yard or go and go near one of them and
Mm.
just see how you feel.
It's part of the bigger mission. It's part of one day I can see, like this question about how AI is coming into the world and
Mm,
it can go almost two ways.
mm,
We either teach it compassion and love, or we teach it how to self-destruct and
mm,
blow, something happens to us all. And it's the same when it comes to our horses. And I think to myself, we are missing something if we take a step back and look at how many horses out there are suffering and how many people are suffering, there is a disconnect from, like you said, people being on their phone, being distracted, being noise, having to-do lists every day, dropping the kids off here, I need to be here, I need to be here. All of this need. And then you come back and you just see a horse in the field and you light up. So that is something internal, but you're right. When we ride a horse, there is something that happens to our nervous system that feels like we've achieved something for the day. And I think that's why we keep going back. Keep going back, and why we keep, no matter what the frustration is with a horse, we just keep going. It's like a relentless battle between you and yourself to do it. Because the horses don't really care. They want it. As long as they've got that's the 5, what do you call the word? Like necessities of what a horse needs, like grooming, so connection, feed, water. As long as they have that safety, they're okay.
They're happy.
We're the complicated ones.
Oh, yeah.
Bringing all of our life to the horse.
But I think with Shan, my wife, her if she's had a bad day, her safe place is the horses. She'll go out with the horses for an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, and come back and she's like completely different. She's had that time, I think, to offload.
That's it.
And just not think about anything else other than I'm riding and mucking out and filling hay nets or whatever it is.
And the joke of it is, it's really repetitive stuff we do as riders every day, and it's very simple. And I think that's the beauty about horses, is they actually, amongst all this complicated scientific knowledge that's coming out, they really teach us to be keeping things simple. They bring you back. Okay? They bring you back into your body. Like you said, do some mucking out. I mean, how many of us, as much as we hate mucking out, it's quite therapeutic. Do the box, clean, like not even a bit of straw between the floor and that bit of straw there. And then the horse comes in and mushes it all off, and then we're back to it again. But we love it.
Yeah. I have to say, mucking out is not my forte. I'm not allowed to muck out here because I don't do it right. I don't do it right. I was like, well, what have I done wrong? All the poos are out, all the wees are out. Yeah, but like you said, it's not straight. It's not straight at the front. It's like, yeah, but the horse, it's not straight.
There is a system.
There is a system.
It's an unsaid system.
Yeah, and I'm not allowed. Do you want me to help you muck out? I say, no.
We're good.
Okay, no problem. That's fine. So we've gone quite deep there already, which is great. For what's the preview
kind
of
of
what's
get
to
the
come.
mindset that I'm in.
Yeah. But let's start at the beginning. So what got you into horses? Where did the hook come from?
There's not one specific moment. I just have always known that horses have been in my life, and I'm sure those of us that have been in the equestrian industry for many years will recognize that there's certain horses that come into your life at certain ages to help you through that process of growing up and then move on. So as someone who grew up, my dad was a racehorse trainer. I was in pony club games. That was the main mission.
Love pony club.
Loved it. So competitive. And I got my first pony for my 10th birthday, Sir Bentley. That is probably
Sir Bentley.
Sir Bentley.
That's a great name.
Absolute ugliest pony in the world. But my God, he had the heart of gold. And what I loved about this pony was that every time I grew a little bit more confident, cocky growing up, he went, right, put you straight back. And I loved it. And it's going back to that sense of like why we ride. I think the challenge that he kept giving to me every time I got a little bit better made me want to do more. And so instead of maybe, I don't know what normal kids did who don't have horses, but for me it was finish school, run back home, and then it was straight into building jumps. How can I build this jump to maybe challenge Bentley more? And he would do it. But the story about how I was very fortunate enough to get Bentley was I was blindfolded on my birthday. And now in Africa, I lived a very different life to here in the UK, where safety is a big thing. It's quite a dangerous country. And so we have a lot of gatherings at your house just for safety. So people come in and it's all, safeguarded, and their security and stuff like that. So I had my birthday at home, and blindfolded, came downstairs, and my family just went, and my friends were like, just put your hands out. So I was walking around like a zombie like this with my eyes closed, and I just obviously felt the neck straight away, and then just started tears of like joy.
Really? Coming out of the blindfold,
Oh
you
my
knew
God. I
instantly.
was just like, and then blindfold off. And I don't know of anyone else, but I learned to ride bareback. I learned to ride bridleless,
Really?
Yeah, keeping things really simple. It was all about just having so much fun with my pony.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something I educate and inspire my current clients to do. Again, no matter what level they are, I don't care if you're top of the top, bring some fun into your everyday with your horse. Bring back that play behavior. And I've got Bentley to thank for that because, like I said, he wasn't the most ideal conformation of a pony. He was like a Shetland cross, a South African pony cross, I don't know what, thoroughbred. He had a skew tooth. His jaw was offset. He had a neck like a camel. And then I was obviously to my pony club and show jumping, didn't care about schooling. But when it came to doing dressage, when my legs got too long, he was about 12 too. I was like, I'm not going to give up on this pony. So I went to dressage, teaching. By then, he was about 18-year-old stubborn pony to go on the bit. Was my next challenge as a rider. So, but again, it's that constant progress that they teach you as a child. And then from South Africa, my dad got a job in the UK as a doctor. So we were very fortunate to come over. But being animal lovers as a family, my mum wouldn't let her dogs go to the UK in quarantine. So we went to live in France for a year.
Oh, wow.
Now, as people who have never left South Africa, my brother and I, so I was 12, my brother was 11. We then emigrated, 3 dogs, my mum and my brother and myself, to France. Can't speak a word of French. My dad lived in the UK. And yeah, we had to be there a year for the dogs.
Wow.
It was actually amazing. Whilst that was happening, my only requirement for leaving Africa was that my pony came with me. So if everyone can just bear in mind that when horses get flown across country, it's usually some very expensive warm blood or thoroughbred. So when Bentley rocked up in Germany at the quarantine station, I just remember my dad being like, they've sent videos of this little naughty shit who's let out himself from the quarantine stable and has been gallivanting around the quarantine yard. Oh. Yeah, I think they were like, I'm guessing, I can just imagine when the lorry ramp went down and all these big warm bloods and this little pony appeared. I bet they were like, is this a mistake? Like, what? Bless him. So he also went through that experience. But I spent a year in France, going to a French school, and I learned how to properly show jump, with some French trainers. So again, this is how the horses follow me. I followed the horses. And I also learned in France how to drive. So they did a lot of driving horses there.
When you say driving, just for people who don't know what is that?
Like old school, big draft horses who are cultivating the farmlands. How incredible is that? And you're sat on the back of these carts with these big kind of metal iron rollers going into the ground, and you're driving that. And these horses, I need to get the name right, but they're a specific breed. I want to say maybe the Belgian warm bloods. They are about 18.3. They are huge. Their feet are double the size of our heads.
Jeez.
And they're just plowing through. But it was an incredible moment as a 12-year-old little twig girl, just being like, how can I work with these horses? But they're gentle giants. They were incredible. Yeah. So then came to the UK. We landed in the north of the UK. Bentley was allowed out of quarantine. Had a great time, apparently. Well, obviously, within that year, I'd grown even more. So despite all the travel and him coming over, I think my parents will never, ever let that one go. How much money they spent getting him over here. We won't talk about it. No, I was very lucky. So I spent another 2 years trying to teach Bentley how to go on the bit. We did some dressage. We did BD. We went and did young riders for BD. I was very fortunate there. And then I got to the stage where my legs were almost on the ground. And it was like,
It's
I
time.
think it's time
Mm.
for another pony.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, Bentley was the last horse I've actually owned. So that was 16. I'm now 36.
Wow.
I've not owned a horse in 20 years. But because of the lessons Bentley taught me about patience, consistency, never giving up,
Mm.
and keep working on progressing, the horses in between Bentley were definitely not easy. Um, and I sometimes think to myself, if only I could work with those horses now, I would realize how many mistakes I was making
Yeah.
as the rider and handler.
Yeah.
And the horses were just mirroring my, I just didn't have the knowledge.
Well, you don't
I
know what
didn't
you
have
don't
the
know.
knowledge.
You don't know what
Yeah,
you
but
don't
it's
know.
so interesting to look back and go, God, I wish I had you now, because it'd be so different.
Yeah.
So the reason I didn't get another horse is because my dad went, right, horses are expensive, so you're gonna go into the racing industry. He said,
Okay.
I think his idea was to put me off.
Right.
I think the aim was,
and it didn't work.
yeah, let's go and put her on something fast. And if she really wants to stick this out, this will determine whether she will do it or not. Didn't work out. No.
No,
It
clearly.
only fueled the fire. It only did. So that's like my background coming to the UK. And then pretty much because of going into the racing industry, working in, oh God, the depths of winter, which is probably why I'm scarred to work with horses in the winter now, is riding race horses on the moors in northern Yorkshire when you have wind, rain, and you're on a very hot thoroughbred. It taught me about neck straps, the importance of a neck
Yes.
strap,
Yeah. I can
which
imagine.
which I took with me even into the dressage, up to PSG. I was swarming up in a neck strap. I don't care what anyone says. Yeah, going into the racing industry taught me so much about my seat as a rider, balance, and the most important thing is to never hold on to the reins, the contact, to ride from your seat. So if I look back at that time as being even a jockey, I was like, I'm so grateful because it made me then, when I went into dressage, it made me ride totally different.
Yeah, because you have
Yeah.
that sort of base to work from.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
They do a lot of people that I've had and a lot of riders that I spoke to, they say when they do crossover disciplines, they
Yeah.
say one does help the other.
Oh,
Because if
so
you only
much.
do, for example, dressage all the time, your seat may not be,
Totally.
it's
Yeah.
amazing. Going back to Sir Bentley,
Yeah.
which
So Bentley.
that's really made me. I've just got this picture of this little horse with all these thoroughbreds. It really really made me laugh then. Looking back now, I've got two children, Aya and Lincoln, and 9 and 7 now,
Mm-hmm.
and they've got horses.
Mm-hmm.
And Aya is at the stage now where she's mucking out every day, every morning. And I find that there's such a grounding with her compared to other children.
Mm-hmm.
Now, looking back when you had Sir Bentley, and he's taught you all these lessons, do you think any children or any parents that are watching that perhaps if their child is struggling with certain things, that maybe that's a good a good place to maybe look at or maybe start with?
Honestly, I've got goosebumps talking about it. The non-verbal lessons that horses teach us is so much more powerful than we give them credit for. Horses, I was a very quiet person, still am quite an introvert person. And the fact that I had this responsibility every day got me out of my head and got me out of being nervous.
Yeah.
And that confidence couldn't have been taught to me by a human. That confidence was taught to me by this very ugly looking pony who I loved with every part of my body. He was a beautiful unicorn in my eyes. Frustrating, but he taught me so much. And yeah, I'm seeing a big shift in the industry because I'm not against the BHS standards. However, boldly stating there needs to be a big shift in how we teach our children, not only about safety, but how horses communicate. There's a really awesome center up in the Yorkshire called Think Like a Pony.
Oh wow, I've never heard of them.
Brilliant
What do
name.
they do?
Oh my gosh. This lady is incredible. She's won a lot of lottery funding to set this place up. She, like a riding school would, teaches kids to ride, but she teaches kids to ride from the ground up. So you might go in, depending on, say, your child has tendencies to act out at school, is misbehaving at school, is basically not following or wanting to follow the way that standard curriculum is. They come to her and she teaches them through the horses. Basically, the horses do the teaching to give that child another way to express their thoughts, to give that child another way to express what they're feeling. So it's from the ground up. And I feel that I look back at my, I was someone who, I have dyslexia and struggled a lot at school. I struggled with things like physics, maths, all chemistry. Where I thrived was things like art, was things like drama, even though I will not get up on stage now. But I was obviously more creative.
Yeah.
Now, as a child who has a lot of bad memories of having to learn from a textbook, I know if someone put a horse in front of me and just explained it in a slightly different way, I would have got it straight away.
Yeah, instantly.
Instantly. So I think as a animal parent, don't have a child yet, but if your child is struggling or wants to actually get into horses, they are a fantastic way. But I would say think outside the box, because there's so much more to just riding. The horses, when you're one-on-one with them, even like your daughter mucking out, it gives you a sense of pride mucking that stable out to your standard and being like, yeah, I did that for my pony.
Yeah.
You know, and that's maybe your win of the day before you go to school and you're told that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong.
Yeah, I think there is something definitely in looking after something, horse, dog, looking after something that's, or concentrating on something that's not yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's a bit of a key.
100%.
Because I think a lot of people are quite, I mean, through no fault of their own, I think it's very much focusing on them. Whereas the horse is like, I'm going to focus on something else, just not me. I'm going to do this for somebody that a horse that won't even probably say thank you, at the end of it, because they are quite rude like that, aren't they?
Totally. And I think, like you said, in today's world with social media, with all this comparison, with all these filters and things like that, we're causing, without us knowing what our kids are looking at when we're not with them, what that's doing to them. But what the horses do is they not only bring you back in nature because you're outside, but like you said earlier, like you're forced to move your body. Humans are meant to move. We're not meant to sit down for hours and read a textbook.
No.
So any wonder we go into our heads. And as a child, to have that freedom to even just to walk with your pony in the field or turn your pony out is so good for much more than just your mental health, your body.
I think it's really rewarding. I think it's really important. And also, like in our industry, according to the BHS sort of statistics, riding schools are shutting down. The industry is shrinking at the moment. And I think that's because a lot of kids probably maybe aren't at a grassroots sort of level, aren't being brought up into it for whatever reason. But if there was a way to get them in, this is clearly a good place to start, I think.
100%.
Yeah. What's one or two experiences that you've had throughout your career that sort of shaped how you see horses today?
There's definitely more than one, especially in the different countries that I've worked in. But I'm going to share one as a rider and then one as a therapist.
Amazing.
Perfect.
That really, 2 perspectives.
That's it. So when I came back from Australia as a flat jockey, I finished my degree at the time and went to work for a natural horsemanship. Now, natural horsemanship falls under so many brackets. Some people think the flag, some people think chasing them around in a circle, whatever, whatever works for your horse. And there was a pony that came into this yard. Now, this yard was mainly working with thoroughbreds who were deemed dangerous going into the starting stalls. So, when race horses, flat race horses, before they run, they go in the starting stalls, they jump out. So you get some horses that are afraid to go in.
Okay.
Or before they go in, they kick out. Now, there's very strict regulations that when those horses are in the starting stalls, they have to be acting a certain way so they don't either upset the horse next to them, and they also have a short time limit to be in there before they open the gates and go. So if one horse is taking, don't quote me on this, maybe let's just say 10 seconds to get in,
Mhm.
and he's taking longer than that, he will be disqualified because respect to the other horses standing in the stalls.
Right. Okay.
So it was a really like interesting shift to go and work there. But just to give you the listeners a bit of a overview, like the horses that came there, they either got sorted or their life wasn't there anymore. It was that
Really?
extreme. Yeah. So this was their last resort kind of place. It was a really fascinating place to work, and it really opened my eyes as a rider to the power of a horse, good and bad,
Mhm.
the danger, what these animals can really do. They are so strong. They can do a lot, but also how soft they can be. And one pony came in. They did take in, say, non-race horses, and I got told, this is Dusty. He's a Connemara cross, and he's in Bolter. He put his rider in hospital, and she fractured 4 vertebrae. So
Ooh.
he's either here to stop the bolting, or he's going to pony heaven.
Really? That.
That is what we had to work with.
Wow. That's a lot of
Now,
pressure as
mm,
well.
it is. But how old would I have been there? I think it was about 23 or 24. As someone who has been trained in the pony club, then dressage, and then show jumping, and then flat jockey, coming into this was like, as a rider, a whole new level
Yeah.
of opening my eyes.
Wow.
And this is why the perspective shift came in, because what I learned, I've always been told, fix the problem, ride the problem, try a different technique. But with a horse that's put someone in hospital, and with a horse that has multiple times bolted. I don't know if you've ever or know anyone, if you as a listener have sat on a horse that's bolted.
Yeah. I've seen it multiple
Yeah.
times. Yeah. Yeah.
For me as a rider, it's probably one of the most frightening things a horse can do.
Mhm.
There's no sense of like self-preservation. I don't mind a buck, a rear. I've even been on horses that have flipped over on me. Like there's plenty of things, but a bolter, when you have no sense of control, it's just like I'm in the total mercy. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So we didn't ride this pony from the start. And the shift in perspective was learn how to gain the horse's trust from the ground, which is something I had no idea about.
I'm gonna say, where do you even start with
Yeah,
that?
because again, all I was told when I was younger was ride the pony, exercise the pony, ride, canter, pony club, dressage.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, obviously I'm working with professionals. I didn't have the knowledge then. I was the rider. But they did say to me, for the first 2 weeks, you're just going to work with him on the ground. And what did I do? Brought in play behavior.
Like
I
what?
brought in
What's that?
leading him around like a dog.
Yeah.
You know, we sometimes as human overcomplicate things. I get this, my horse is scared of hacking. Can you walk with him on the ground?
Mhm.
Can you go for a walk?
Literally
I
walk your
literally
horse.
walked my pony. I walked Dusty for about 2 weeks in hand. We went everywhere. We first started in the yard where it was safe, quote unquote. We then walked around the fields. We
Mhm.
then went out of the fields. We went onto the roads. Eventually had him in the tack room. I
What?
had it just everywhere.
Really?
Yeah. And back then I would be thinking, why am I doing this? I'm walking a pony. Like, what am I doing? But do you know what it made you do as the rider is understand his normal behavior. When you as a rider, and especially for those of us that are listening that are struggling to figure out what's going on with their horse, because you're missing the patterns, I'm going to boldly say it. You need to learn to listen to your horse. And the only way you can do that is if you get off riding, get off their back and watch them. Horses have patterns that they show us all the time. And Dusty was showing me a pattern. Before, because he was quite a skittish horse, and that's how he bolted, his owner moved her leg on him, and that's what triggered the bolt. That's what triggered I'm running blindly, the rider fell off. There's always a story to a horse doing that, right? They don't just naturally want to do that. And Dusty's story was that he came from Ireland where they'd put a dummy on. Now, for those of us that don't know, when you start horses, you can either put the rider on or some people use these dummy riders. Dusty's dummy rider that they put on him when he, quote unquote, exploded, which shouldn't happen, but he exploded in the arena, which means he was in a lunge pen and he went bucking off. The dummy slipped underneath him.
Would it?
So Dusty's experience of anything being on his back was that it moved in an awkward way, and then he went into panic station because the dummy landed underneath him. So it taught me as a rider that every behavior the horse shows that we deem as humans as sporadic or dangerous is a learned behavior.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. And it's our job to understand the learned behavior. Now, horses will they will forgive, but they'll never forget.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that in mind, I took that forward in everything I did. So after walking him around a few times, I started to introduce different objects into our relationship.
Like
tarpauling,
yeah,
anything, even the saddle. He was petrified of the saddle.
awesome.
So I would bring it into the arena and just walk around with it. Not on him, just in the arena. But it made me realize that he started to have a pattern which was about 2 or 3 signs before he would trigger a bolt.
Right, okay.
And
So
that
you knew
was-
3 steps before he was going to do it.
Yeah. So he never bolted with me, even when I eventually got on his back. He never did it. And I honestly believe it's because I spent time getting to know him as a person. I know he's a horse. They have personalities. I got to know who he was. I didn't judge him. I couldn't ever use any pressure on him because the minute you put too much pressure, he had that instinct to bolt.
Right.
So Dusty shifted my perspective. We spent 6 months getting from that stage to I took him out competing, and he did some dressage.
Wow.
And he went back to his owner.
Just before we move, what do you remember? What the 3 stages before he was going to bolt were? Do you remember?
Yeah.
What
So
were they?
his biggest thing was the trust with humans and what they did to him with the dummy getting on his back.
Mm.
So what I recognized, and this is from the ground up, is that when he locked onto something, his initial thing was to go. So he held his breath.
So that's what you looked out for. You were looking for.
I just started to recognize he does the same thing. And he would hold his breath. And then he would go really stiff in his neck. And then whatever it was, to say the object, he would lock the ear on, the inside ear onto it. That was his second cue. And then his third cue is the whites of his eye would start to show. But this was a very quick succession.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like, oh, he's doing that. And then 3 seconds later or 10 seconds later, it was like such a quick pattern.
Right.
So basically, as the rider being on his back, I had to realize that the minute I felt that cue of, I had to change something I was doing or something was going to trigger him.
Mm-hmm.
I found what worked with him personally was me being very aware of my body on him,
mm-hmm.
because this was the key. And this is what I hope everyone can appreciate that's worked with horses like this, is because they never forget, you as the rider can never be complacent. He's never going to be the horse that's going to be always relaxed and I can just switch off on him. I always had to be one step aware of my surroundings, aware of what was coming in. It didn't make me a nervous rider, it just made me more aware.
Mm-hmm.
And he taught me that. He taught me to be more aware of my surroundings so that I could be his rock to help him through it.
Wow.
And even a simple, okay, I can feel you are struggling, or I can feel you're not holding your breath. Dusty, put my hand on his neck. No patting. Horses don't like patting. Put a hand on the neck for comfort. I've got you. We're going to change where we're going. And then I would hear my legs around his belly would go, and I'd be like, okay, we're good.
Wow.
Yeah. That working there taught me a hell of a lot and shifted my perspective as a rider.
So you must have been. I mean, I know we'll get onto when you got into the competition, but you must be quite an intuitive. Be in tune with them quite quickly, or know what you're looking for, right? Like, how do you even?
I think I take it for granted, but I have from this to help the everyday horse owner is I've created a method which I call the AAA method, the Ask, Assess, Adjust method, because anyone can do this. When we get out of our heads, when we get into our bodies, you can work with any horse.
Wow.
The biggest thing stopping us from understanding our horses today is that we have too much expectation and we're in our heads.
Mm.
It's that simple. and I'm
That's it.
happy to explain it. But yeah, the second shift is as a therapist.
Yeah. This is your second perspective, huh?
This is the second
Yeah.
perspective. So this happened about 3 years ago in Liverpool, and I've got my chiropractic qualification. I've been in it for a few years, got my physio, my massage. But still, you can have all the qualifications in the world, and education is at the forefront, especially when you're working with a horse's body. But all these tools couldn't have prepared me for this horse. She was a big 17-1 chestnut mare, beautiful mare. And I was told, we don't want you to assess her with no rider. We want you to see her with the rider on, because this is where she's really bad. Sure thing. So I met them in the arena. She was tacked up. The rider was on board. And I said, before you tell me anything, just do what you need to do. Just trot the horse, walk the horse, ride the horse around the arena. And again, I've got the saddle fitter there. I've got the rider's wife there. And I have another therapist there. Everyone is watching. Everyone is going, you're telling us what's wrong with this horse. You need to tell us, because we've been through all the vets. We don't know what to do. We're at our last hope now.
So no pressure.
No pressure.
No.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I am like 5'2" in the arena. Okay. And you can't even touch the horse because we want you to see it ride.
Wow.
So that's not the standard way that we do it, what we do as chiropractors or physios. So I'm watching this horse go around, and I'm like, breathe. There's no pressure on you. Just remember.
Not at all.
Just remember, Nika. Okay, and I recognized something very quickly. And this is the beauty, and what I'm trying to advocate more and more to all of us, is get out of your head. It's not about us. Me being there wasn't about me. It was about helping and being the advocate for this horse. Because when a horse and a rider get to a point where the rider's going, I don't know what is wrong with my horse. I've tried everything, and I know they love their horses. We all love them. We would do anything for them. It just simply means that we're in our head too much, and we've forgotten how to listen. And it's the hardest thing, because we want them to speak.
Yeah.
I hear this all the time. My horse won't tell me what's wrong with him. And I'm like, I know it's frustrating, but I promise you, he's telling you. He's always telling you. We just have to listen. And I watched them go around, and I noticed something. The rider, I'm sure those of you that will recognize this as riders, when you're a bit nervous, obviously there's people watching you, you go really tight in your body, you go maybe a bit forward in your seat, and you're not breathing. You're like a statue on the horse's body. That's what the rider was doing. And I just said to the rider, take a deep breath and just imagine I'm not here. So she came into the middle of the ring, and she said, Nika, this horse just cannot move its back. They told me it had about 5 different pathologies going on in its body. So for those of us that don't mean it, it was diagnosed with like, it had hock arthritis, it had stifle arthritis, it had kissing spines, but all of these were treated by the vet, and it was out of its rehab. So the point and the question was, why is the horse still not performing and relaxing despite not being in pain? And I always say that because just because an x-ray is clean doesn't mean the horse isn't in pain.
Yeah.
Okay? Just means we haven't got there as humans to understand the pain yet.
Yeah.
There's always an answer, everyone. And I actually turned to the owner, so their rider's partner. I said, can I be experimental here? And she went, yeah, go for it. And they all looked like sideways. And I said to the rider, can I ask you to let go of the reins? She's in the arena. She's halting. I said, let go of the reins. Close your eyes for me. And I'm going to do a box breath with you.
A what?
Exactly. She did the same thing. She went, what? Now, for those of you that don't know, I also work with female riders online. And the biggest part I find with a lot of us riders, women, is that we hold a lot of stress every day in our lives. We like to do everything. We like to get our kids sorted, our partners, dinner, food, the dogs, the horses, and we almost forget that we need needs as well, and we need to look after ourselves.
Definitely.
And I said to the rider, with this box breath, all I want you to do is inhale for the count of 4, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4, and then repeat the process. So as a rider, you're imagining a box in your mind as you're doing it.
Right.
Okay, for those of us that are visual, you're inhaling for 4, one line, exhale, holding for 4, another line, exhaling for 4, another line, and then holding again, and then repeating. So you're doing that. We did that for about 3 times, and something magical happened. Magical's maybe a bit airy-fairy. The horse went,
No.
and then next minute, the rider went, do you mind if I continue? I said, of course you can. She went off, and I said, all I want you to do is keep breathing. I want you to do the same box breath exercise. She came back in. By the way, the beginning of this horse's posture in the arena was stiff, couldn't bend left or right, just totally like riding an ironing board. For those of us that know that feeling, it's horrendous to sit on a back like that. You have no feeling in the saddle. And she came back in and she just started sobbing and sobbing and sobbing. And I looked over and the saddle fitter was crying. And then I looked over and the partner was crying. And then I started crying. And I was like, what is going on? You know, you have those out-of-body experiences of like, what just happened there? I don't know what happened there. Yeah. So the shift in perspective there as a therapist is that I had to let go of my traditional way of treating and go back to what I'd known from from learning horses' behavior to watching. And that non-judgment, no expectation allowed me to apply a principle to the rider, which had a significant effect to the horse. Since that day, this was 3 years ago, that horse and rider, she says, I do this every time I get on. And she said, our relationship has transformed.
Wow.
Now, I sometimes think, where did that come from? Because I didn't go in there thinking, I'm going to do some meditation with this rider.
Yeah.
I went in there being like, I'm here as a chiropractor. So this is what I love about horses, is sometimes the unplanned is where our biggest lessons come.
I mean, again, I know it's taken God knows how many years to actually get to that stage, but something so simple after all those, the vets, saddle fitters, not to say that they didn't do a good job or anything, but it was as simple as that.
It was very simple. And this is also why I'm on this big mission to educate and help riders as well as horses. But a lot of it is coming from us as riders because we are forgetting the simplicity of how to look after ourselves. And we are forgetting that fundamentally our body's a nervous system, right? We have a nervous system in our body.
Yeah.
We have the same as a horse. They have a nervous system. Now, when you put 2 nervous systems together, they're going to mirror each other.
Like communicate with each other.
That's it. And that's not even area, that's science. So your body, my body, is adapting to this environment that we're in right now.
Wow.
Our horses, those of us that know, our horse might be very relaxed at home, it goes to competition and it starts to get anxious because you've changed the environment and its nervous system is responding to the environment the whole time. And that's why if we start to just understand how we work, you are a lot further to understanding how your horse will work.
That's really cool. That's really interesting. So, you said then if you take them to another environment and then they get anxious, is that also possibly most likely because the rider's anxious as well?
Oh,
or
God,
is it like 90% the rider and 10% the environment, or is it always a mix?
It's every horse is different, but for those of us that are listening, I'm sure you've seen these people that come in and say the horse is extremely what people deem as unruly. So you can see the ride or the person on the ground being like mauled around. The horse is leading them. The horse is taking them that way and then that way, and its eyes are on stalks and its head's in the air, and you're thinking, oh my God, it's grown about 2 foot, and you're there like, please don't hurt me. And then someone comes in and they don't even do much, but they just grab hold of the rope and the horse is just like totally different animal. And you ask yourself, what are they doing? Are they some kind of guru? Like, I want that with my horse. And I genuinely believe that the reason horses, or we feel so sometimes disconnected to our horse, is because we're disconnected to ourselves.
Yeah.
The horse is waiting for you. Every horse that I've worked with in my life, whether it's a client's horse or whether it's been a horse that I've managed or had the honor to be a part of, they've taught me something about myself that I've needed to work on to be either more confident or maybe slow down a bit and be a bit patient. And I know it's a hard one to get around because most of us, it's expensive to have a horse. They're not a cheap hobby to have. So it's almost like, if I'm going to have this horse, I want to do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I would love listeners, and I'd love everyone just for a moment to actually just think about really why you have a horse. And I'm still yet to find an answer that isn't about connection.
Yeah.
And how can you have a connection if you're not connected to yourself and if you don't understand yourself? Because it takes two to tango.
Mm-hmm.
And your horse is there. Your horse is just waiting for you.
No, it's very, very true. And like you said, every person I've spoken to on and off camera, there's always that connection. That's always the I don't know what it is, but I love horses.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you said, can't explain it, but it's just there. Going back to as well the few years ago in Liverpool,
Mm-hmm.
with this horse, and we've had it as well here. Do you think a lot of people offer opinions?
No. The equestrian industry is, and no one has an opinion.
But you know what I mean? It's like, if a friend offers you like a solution to a problem that you're having, and then you try it and it doesn't work, and then you try something else, like anybody that's listening that's going through that sort of process, is it just would you advise them just literally just step back and just watch them?
Honest to God, the equestrian industry, as someone who's worked in it for so long, there are so many opinions and everyone knows better. And I suppose that's even genuinely why I've actually for many years struggled to put this intuition, this feeling into like a bit of a process, because a lot of people want, oh, Monty Roberts worked for me. It's going to work for you.
Yeah.
This supplement changed my horse's life. It's going to work for you. This haylage is game changer. This saddle, this bit, this. And we cannot, there is no method, supplement, tack that's going to work for every single horse.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to save yourself frustration, so much time, and so much money, shut out all the noise. Start watching your horse. Start listening to them. But if you don't even know what that feels like, do it for yourself.
Yeah.
Do it with yourself. Because even your body, how many of us wake up every day feeling like on top of the world? How many of us wake up jumping out of bed going, I'm ready for bed. I'm going to go and do that workout.
Not very often.
Well, exactly, right? And I sometimes laugh and think we're overcomplicating this, because if we let's go back to the nervous system, wake up sometimes feeling tired, and I'm happy to talk about this when it comes to female health with the changing hormones, we wake up every week, sometimes every day, feeling different. There's no way my horse is going to feel the same every day. I don't know if they got cast in the night. I don't know if maybe they had a bad night's sleep. Maybe something was keeping them up at night. Maybe there was some annoying bug in their stable that was. And then if I go into that stable straight away with a tack, going, right, you must ride. I've got this new girth that's going to change your life, or this new numbner, and it must work. But you're ignoring those signs of, before you've even brought the tack into the stable, your horse has turned their back to you.
Yeah.
That's straight away your horse is going, something isn't right. But a lot of us underestimate that. Now, I'm not saying if your horse has a pain, for example, like arthritic joint, or they have a ligament strain, that you can heal that with healing yourself. But what you can definitely do, if that is caused by management, training, tack, so here's a question. What is the biggest cause of pain and lameness in horses today?
I wouldn't even know. Probably an unbalanced rider.
Tack.
Tack?
Tack is the number one cause
Like
of
ill-fitting tack?
pain. Yeah. Yeah. It's the number one cause of pain in horses. So what I'm trying to say here is before you even get on your horse is communicating with you the whole time. And if you learn those just subtle signs, you'll be able to identify, oh, before I put this tack on, this happens. And this happened a few times. If I ride him without tack, he's fine. You'll get to the solution so much quicker than listening to Joe Blogs down the road or your neighbor in the yard, in the livery yard, telling you that this special hay is the way to go forward. Like, everyone loves horses and everyone I know wants to help, but sometimes you just taking a step back, stop Googling, stop Facebook grouping, and looking at your horse and even writing down these patterns or recording it, you will get there so much quicker.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think you and also speak to the people who know, not the ones who've got an opinion. That makes sense.
But as a therapist as well, like I've been in this industry such a long time, I am happy to say that I can be wrong.
Yeah.
I can be wrong sometimes. Oh God, yeah.
Well, yeah, you're not going to be right all
I
the
can
time.
mess up.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm right all
Obviously.
the time, especially when it comes in at home. I'm 100% correct.
Shall I go now?
No, don't go and ask them. But ask it maybe if I'm not in the room. So you mentioned something just then about hormones. Now, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I have a lot of women in my life, my wife, my mum, my grandma, family, lots and lots. And one thing that has been coming up in podcasts that I've listened to is women on the menstrual cycle with exercise and how it can affect you and your energy levels and how you feel. Now, you said then about how it may affect also the horse as well. Is this something that you're learning about and you're sort of trying to tell people about as well? Can we go down that route? Is that
Definitely.
that sounds really interesting.
Part of this journey, so I work with female riders exclusively online, and I coach them through not only hormones, but the biggest thing is how to fuel yourself as a rider. And by that I mean eat food.
Yeah.
Most of us don't eat good food. We like to eat croissants and about 6 coffees before we have breakfast because we have no time to eat, we tell ourselves. So I work on 3 pillars: nutrition, movement, and that is also linked to your hormonal age, which I'll talk about, and then brain gym, I call it, which is basically your stress resilience and your ability to not only be resilient to stress, but your ability to let go of stress, because we can't bring stress to our horses. They feel it. So when I started my journey about the menstrual cycle, it's obviously very personal to me. I'm someone who has PCOS, and I have 3 out of the 4 types of PCOS. So I have inflammation, polycystic ovary syndrome.
Right.
I was someone who started my period at the age of 18, which is quite late for young girls. And since 18 to 28, so in that period, I had the worst pain of periods, to the point where I was on the pill, but I would have to take some form of pain relief just because I was also riding. I was a competitive rider. Not to mention the amount of clotting and blood that I lost during that time, which I've looked into the stats of this. And there was a study in Australia done on girls between the age of 10 to 17 that have a menstrual cycle. And the stats were scary. So because they're having to wear white jodhpurs. Come on, industry.
Didn't even think of that. Yeah.
Who made that a rule for competition? You have to wear white jods. So because of the rules of having to wear white breeches and jodhpurs, and then obviously depending on their pain and their symptoms during menstruating, so bleeding, they found in that study of cohort that 57% of them would actually withdraw from a competition.
Really?
Because of A, the shame of bleeding through, but B, the pain associated with it, which I find is so sad because of how much effort and time we put in as female riders and as male riders to get the horse there. And then, unfortunately, if you're then linked to the competitions on the weekend that you're bleeding, you don't want to feel comfortable, so you withdraw. I haven't found any studies yet with equestrian women and the effect it has on horses, but I'm on a mission to either do the study and show it because I see it so often. So going back to myself, my lowest points were, I can be open here, was having to wear a nappy. So a tampon, a pad, and a nappy to bed,
Really?
and still bleeding through. Like, that's the extent of how much blood I was losing. Going to the doctors and only to be told, take pain relief.
That just paracetamol.
Take pain relief. It's just part of being a woman. You're on contraception. You just have. And I kept on the cycle, and it got to the point where my inflammation got so bad that I developed adult acne across all sides of my face. And the pain and not only embarrassment of that was so uncomfortable, showing up to clients being like, it's not just one or two spots. It was like I had a beard of acne. And what I was more worried about was the scarring, because it was itchy and painful. So this led me down the route of looking at my lifestyle. And this is how then, through more education, through more research, I recognized, oh my goodness me, I'm poisoning my body every single day and I don't even know it. Now, I'm someone who's ridden at a high level. I've always been someone who's taken my health, quote unquote, seriously, but I did not know about things like seed oils. I did not know about things like training with your cycle. I didn't know about how important it was to eat this amount of protein a day, this amount of fiber a day. I've been doing this journey now for coming on 3 years, and without going to the doctors, I've managed to remove my bloat. My periods are normal to the point where I'm not on contraception and I don't have to wear tampons, nappies anymore. This is all through lifestyle changes.
When you say lifestyle changes, what sort of changes?
So it's those 3 pillars. I look at what I eat. I'm not someone who counts calories. I'm not someone who weighs my food because I have a very busy lifestyle.
Yeah, burn it
I
all.
travel the world. It's impossible to be consistent with that. But I do know how much protein I need to get in a day. And I also have knowledge about what protein is in a certain amount of food. Now, seed oils, if there's anyone here who is suffering with inflammation, it doesn't have to be around menstrual cycles. This is for men and women. My biggest gift to you is to start looking at seed oils. Look into it, Google it, ChatGPT it, and give you all the information.
They're negative in your body or positive or?
They are in most of foods nowadays, and they are destroying what's called your gut health. So a lot of us think that, you know that saying, you are what you eat. Okay. You are what you eat, but you're also what you digest.
Okay.
So most of us think, I'm eating a healthy salad. You know, I used to think, if I have the Caesar salad and ignore the burger, I'm being healthy. No, you're not. Lettuce leaves is not nutritional value for us. We as athletes, and by the way, you don't have to be an Olympic level rider to be an athlete. If you're riding your horse and you're expecting your horse to perform at a competition, you're an athlete.
Oh, brilliant. I'll let Sean know.
Yeah, she's an athlete. Do you know what I mean? So we have to take responsibility for, here's a question. You as a rider who owns a horse, if your horse skipped breakfast, would you take that horse to a show that day?
Yeah, 100%. I know she wouldn't. Yeah.
Exactly. Isn't it funny? But then if we apply that to us as riders, how many riders say to me, I can't eat because I'm too anxious. I can't eat. I haven't got time. So we go to a competition unfueled, raising what's called your cortisol hormone, which is not good for women, which can cause a lot of inflammation and other secondary problems if left too high. And all of this is not even being spoken about today. How, like you said, how many of us as riders know how to eat to fuel ourselves?
Well, I don't think a lot of people know how to fuel themselves on a regular basis, let alone as a rider.
No.
You know, you said as well before, just because I'd love a comparison. What was your diet like before and then after you've sort of done this research?
So again, I remember I was someone who already thought I was taking my health pretty seriously, even because I was, we used to travel around Europe competing. So I knew I needed energy for that. I wasn't starving myself then, but I was thinking having croissants. I would definitely be someone who would usually skip a breakfast, have a meal on the go, stop at a fuel station. I would be having salads with maybe a little bit of meat and skipping carbs because I was told carbohydrates aren't, great for you. And most women think carbohydrates makes them fat, bloats, and all those things. So a lot of us skip it. And then what I'd usually do, especially if I was at home and I was a bit tired, is I would crash about 3, 4 p.m., have just a severe energy crash and be so flat. And then the cycle would start again tomorrow. And so it's this continuous cycle. And I thought again, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
I'm eating what I thought was lettuce, fruit, and avoiding the burgers.
Yeah.
So it must be all right.
Yeah.
But like I said, the biggest thing I can tell you is when your body is in a high cortisol state and high inflammation, and you're feeding it seed oils, which are in most foods we eat nowadays, no matter what you do healthy-wise, this is the reason you're frustrated. And there's a lot of reason why women, especially after childbirth, struggle to lose weight. I'm not saying to have six-pack abs, but just to be more confident in their body, to be feeling better within themselves.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is because we just don't know about these things that are hidden in food.
Yeah. I think diet plays a massive role.
Huge.
A massive role. I mean, it's like it's one of the 3 pillars, isn't it? Is your diet,
Yeah.
sleep, and exercise.
Yeah.
If you haven't got one of them right, they usually all topple the other ones anyway.
And I find as riders, which is one of the myths I want to really bust, is that riding is enough to keep me fit.
And it's not.
It's not.
It's not.
Not at all. We cannot say that. It's like saying as a human that walking is enough to keep me fit. It's not enough to keep you fit. And unfortunately, men and women from the age of 30 onwards, we start to lose muscle mass percentage each year quicker and quicker. Women, coupled with the hormone changes, that deterioration it's quite scary. So, weight training, resistance training has to be part of your weekly routine. 3 times a week is absolutely fine. You don't have to go to the gym every day. And I find a lot of women either don't do any of that and just rely on riding, and they wonder why their horses maybe plateaued in their performance. Or I see the opposite side and I see riders trying to push themselves, going to the gym 6 days a week. And then we've gone to the other extreme.
Yeah.
We've gone into that pushing yourself, no pain, no gain. And I call it like, stop training like a man. We're not men, women. We don't need to. And I've seen a real change in my health, looking healthier, looking younger, skin's looking better, bowel movements are normal, my menstrual cycles are normal, my brain is clearer. I'm not addicted to sugar anymore. I used to have a massive sugar addiction problem because my cortisol and glucose was all over the place. Just through those 3 pillars. And the beautiful thing about it is, and this is what brings me on to the exciting thing, is that I'm writing the book. I'm writing a book. It's called The Female Rider Code. And in there, I'm going to share everything that I do and how I work with my women online. I've seen it in other women as well. Where I'm really curious to take this one step further is get some more research behind how this affects our horses.
That'd be because it must do. If they're so intuitive to like I said, the nervous system, the emotions.
That's it.
And if you're going through your cycle at that time, I know hormones can obviously change during that period. So it must have some sort of effect. What, I don't know, but
I read a really interesting study the other day when I was doing some research, which was not done in equestrian women, but it was done on cyclists and footballers. And they took a cohort of women who split them in half. One of the cohort was taking hormonal contraception, and the other half were just free. They didn't take anything. And they obviously tracked their cycles for 3 months just to get them into the same rhythm. And then they took them through a series of tests and tested them during the 4 phases of a woman's menstrual cycle. And I found this fascinating because a lot of women I work with that have bad menstrual cycles say to me they feel the worst the week before their period and the week on the period. So the few days they're bleeding, 5 days they're bleeding.
Yeah.
So what these tests showed in comparison to the women who are taking contraception, they took them, don't know the tests exactly, but they measured things like they were physical exercise, reactivity time, reaction time, so all linked to cognitive function as well, how you're thinking and how clear you are and how quick and fast you are. Now, I thought the worst results would be when you're in that latter phase and you're feeling a bit and you're
Yeah.
craving all the sugar, you know you're about to start your period. And then I thought the second thing would definitely be when you're bleeding.
Mhm.
I know as someone when I was riding and I had this cramping feeling, like for those women that don't mind me sharing, like when you have bad period pains, it feels like someone is ripping out your insides. Like that is the degree of discomfort it is. And no matter what you do, it just doesn't go away. And what the study showed was that the women who had no contraception in them and were bleeding had the quickest reaction time, cognitive function, and were basically performing quicker,
Wow.
clearer mind. Now, bring this back to the study I just shared about those girls, 57% who stopped competing because they were bleeding because of their symptoms.
Oh.
So if I can help women reduce their symptoms, how much quicker and better their performance would be on a horse.
So arguably, they'd have a bit of an unfair advantage
Eh,
during that time if they can feel more comfortable
And this is
riding.
what I'm so passionate about proving this through science, because we want facts. We're humans. We want the science. Is showing women, not being disrespectful to men,
Mhm.
but women, you have a gift.
Mhm.
We have a cycle, and once you know how to understand that cycle, feed it, so good food, know how to move, when to know to back off, I think we are at a slight advantage.
Well, then this is it. Then it's great. It's
I'm just
fantastic.
gonna
Why wouldn't
say
you
it.
embrace it?
I'm just gonna say it, and I just need to prove it. And I know through working with the ladies now for over 3 years. And by the way, this is women that also are going through that stage of perimenopause when things are changing and women feel like they're losing their
Yeah,
minds.
that was another thing I've
Ladies,
sort of heard about. Yeah.
ladies, you are losing your mind. Let's just say that. It's not an easy process, but know that you're not alone.
Mhm.
And know that you don't have to feel ashamed about it. You can speak up. And the best thing to do is to educate yourself on what's changing and work with people to support you through it.
Mhm.
Because for some women, and it's going to hit us all at some stage, it can be a really low time. It can be a very hard time for a woman to go through alone, and especially feel like I've worked with women who say to me, I don't recognize who I am anymore. I
Really.
don't recognize the person I used to be. And again, if we link this back to our horse, why I feel that there's such a disconnect is you have ladies who love the horses, they have a horse, they then have a child, they then have a horse that's sat in a field. And a lot of women will say, I just don't want to go back to it because I'm not the rider that I used to be.
Mhm.
And it breaks my heart because your horse isn't judging you for the rider you used to be.
Yeah.
Your horse is there whenever you want them, whenever you're ready. And a lot of it is us. And that's why I'm saying if I can give women the education, the knowledge, and the support, and we can do this as a society, as a family, you can get back into doing something you absolutely love and that brings you so much joy.
Mhm. I think that's the bottom line, is it? At the end of the day, I think if I look back when I was 18, yeah, I can't run as quick
Mhm.
as I was when I was 18. And I think maybe that's what it is to a point. It's like, well, I'm not as good a rider as I used to be.
Mm.
So yeah, I don't, what's the point, sort of thing. But I
Mhm.
think, like you said, why do you ride?
Mhm.
And I know you talk about Pony Club and especially the kids level now. What I try and say to Aya is, my daughter, have a smile on your face when you do it. Go out to win. Go out to win. Do your best.
Mm.
But don't be upset if you lose, or
Mm.
just be there to enjoy it. You're there as an experience. You're there.
Mhm.
You're so lucky. Like not many people get this chance to do these sort of
Yeah.
things, and I think a lot of people forget that,
Mm.
especially when they go into competitions. Oh, I only got, I don't know, 60% in my dressage test, and what's the point? So, well, why are you doing it?
Mhm.
You're doing it because you love it, and that's the bottom line. I think people really need to remember that.
And you've hit the key word there, which is I get to.
Yeah.
There's so many people in the world who are suffering, who have so much pain to the point where they can't ride again. And here we are moaning about getting a 57 instead of a 63.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're forgetting that you get to do this.
Yeah.
And you get to do this on an animal that has the power to do whatever they want, that they are choosing to be with you.
Mhm.
How powerful is that?
Mhm. I think it's amazing. And going back to the the menstrual cycle and the I don't know what the research that you're going to hopefully do in it. I'd be really interested to know about that, because
Yeah.
I find that that's one of the things. Like 50% of the whole world's population goes through the menopausal stages,
Mm.
and has a menstrual cycle, and nobody really talks about it. And I know I'm probably not looking for it, but I hear a lot of things, and I listen
Mm.
to a lot of podcasts, and I like to think I'm a bit clued up, but you very rarely see any information about that, as well as noted like the lack of support as well
Yeah.
when women do go through these stages. And with all the women in my life, and the exact same process that you said the week before is like you feel awful and enjoying it, like the
Mm.
pain you go through, and
And if anyone is wondering how they can take this practically, some of the advice that I give my ladies is, now that we know, because the first thing, if you're thinking, I don't even know how I feel during the week of a menstrual cycle, start tracking.
mhm,
We're looking for patterns again.
mhm,
It's the simple patterns. Your body is always showing you a pattern. So when you start to track your cycle, just do it for 3 months. You'll notice a big pattern straight away, and then you can work with that pattern. But if you're someone who is struggling that latter phase of your cycle, what really works when it comes to, say, preparing your horse and keeping your horse going is to adapt your training.
mhm,
So instead of in that week, okay, I have got this competition, not this week, but next week, but I need to exercise my horse, but I don't have the energy to ride,
mhm.
do some groundwork.
Yeah.
You're going to have a much more productive session than trying to push your horse because you're feeling flat.
Mhm.
It's a hard thing to admit as a rider. We don't want to admit it's us. But I promise you, no one is going to think any less of you if you turn up and say, actually, I don't want to ride today.
Mhm.
I'm going to do something different.
Yeah, and that's okay if they don't ride.
That
They don't
is
have to ride every
absolutely
day.
fine.
It's not, but then maybe understand that, and also do a bit more research into,
Yeah.
times of the months, and when you should be doing certain things, and
Hmm.
when maybe you shouldn't be doing certain things, because that'll also go
Yeah.
onto the horse as well, I assume.
Yeah. I've noticed in myself, the more I've done this, when I'm a little bit kinder to myself that last week, I'm actually I perform better in week 2 and 3. So I will, for example, get better PBs in the gym.
Really.
My treatments I find are better because I allow my body time to rest. And the question I'd love to throw back out, and I'm sure someone out there has the answer, is what about the mares? What about the female horses we work with? Because I hear a lot of people saying my mare's a beep,
Yeah.
or my mare's this, or she's moody, or she's cranky. And I'm like, if that was a human,
Yeah, I
we
didn't
would,
even think.
yeah, what about our horses? What about our mares? Surely we need to be understanding more about what they're going through. We need to be understanding that if they are marish, what is that? What does that mean? If someone called me a moody mare when I was in my part of my cycle, A, I'd want to just give them a good slap. But B, I'm like, hang on a minute, like things are changing, and
Yeah.
like we're laughing about it. It's great to laugh about it because I think sometimes we label our horses these terminology, but what happens if they're just talking?
Yeah.
They're just showing you
If they're
something's
trying to
going
tell you,
on.
like, I need a rest day today.
Yeah, yeah. Or do you know what? Today I just don't want to be ridden.
Mhm.
Okay, fine.
We'll do something
No
else.
worries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, like you said, it all starts with that, that listening, that watching.
Listening, yeah. That's
Amazing.
it.
So going back to the main horse, to the topic at hand, is the horses.
Mhm.
So have you had any like nerve wracking experiences, like whether it's been in the ring or with a client or anything like
Mm.
that?
One of the the most nerve-wracking, and it happened so quick, is when I was a rider for the behavior yard down south. What happened is I'd been there like 6 weeks, and I was asked to go with them to a show. So they do these agricultural shows where it's more, so agriculture is, sheep, cattle, like everyone comes along. There's a variety of audience.
Mhm.
And we set up a round pen. So, like, it's essentially, because it's on the grass, just a metal ring. And in the ring, someone brings a youngster for
Oh
us
wow.
to start from scratch. And this is what the people I was working with was like their signature method, which was starting a horse in a day. not even a day, sometimes half an hour.
Really?
Yeah. So like looking back now, there's pros and cons to everything. And I'm not saying this is the way to do it, because there's also, this doesn't work for every horse. But just to give you a summary, one trip we went to Northern Ireland, 4 jockeys. I was one of the jockeys, 2 ground people, so people that work on the ground. And we started about 210 horses in 2 days.
Really?
From start to scratch with this method. There's pros and cons, like I said, but back to the story. So I'd just been there 6 weeks and they said, come along to the show, see what we do, but bring your riding stuff. So I was like, something's going to happen here. And we get this, I think he was a 4-year-old gelding, unstarted. So that means he's never had a saddle on, never had any handling. He's come from the field.
Unbroken.
Unbroken, yeah. And he's in the lorry and literally opened up and straight in. So what happens in this situation is the guy who's doing it, the horseman, he does the groundwork. As the rider, you are told to listen to the ground person and do nothing. Like, you're just a dummy, basically. Like dummy rider. Okay. Now, I was about like 25 or something. So he does his method, and then he says, right, I think this horse is ready for a saddle. And the rider, Nika, do you want to come up and show us? My heart starts racing. You're in this ring. There's a horse that I've just been introduced to doing this method to. Not only that, there was people watching me from all angles, got their phones out. So he says, come in. The saddle goes on. The horse has a bit of a buck and everything. And then he says, right, you're going to get on. And he just kept telling me, because he's a showman as well. He's entertained the crowd as well. Mm-hmm. My heart is honestly racing. I am sweating profusely. And I'm like, just listen to what he's saying. You're a dummy rider. You're not, just. So I listen to him. He puts me on the horse. I have to stay down for a certain period of time.
What, as in lie?
Yeah, you have to stay dead still.
What, sat up?
Laid down with your head towards the neck.
Oh, really? So
yeah.
Okay.
And this is the reason these guys do it so quickly, is because they know the patterns. They know those behaviors. And that's why by the dummy rider, he's not being disrespectful. He's just saying, listen to my cue because I'm reading the horse.
Right, got
That's
you.
the conversation going on.
Yeah.
But as the rider, you're bricking yourself because you're like, oh my God, this horse has never had it. Yeah. So he then tells me, okay, you're going to sit up slowly on my account. So I sit up slowly. The horse isn't doing anything. But I'm still like, and now I'm like, there's people watching me from all angles. And the next minute he says, I'm going to let the horse trot on now and go for a canter. All you have to do is hold on to the neck strap. Don't touch the mouth. Okay, so I'm doing that. Within a split second, this horse, we're on the left rein, switches reins, rears vertically, vertically, and the next minute I'm going on the right direction in canter, like around this ring. That was probably the most nerve-wracking experience that I've had, and it was probably coupled with the fact that there was people watching me. I don't know how I stayed on today. I have an awesome photo to show for it. The people filming.
Please send it, yeah.
But yeah, that was one of my most nerve-wracking experiences. And I think from that, like even despite all the travel and competing all over the world, like it never really compared to that moment.
That's always stuck with you.
It stuck with me.
10 years or 11 years later,
yeah,
whatever
definitely
it is.
Did.
Wow.
Yeah.
But that could have quite. But why did the man on the ground, did he say, oh, this happened because?
No, I think that's the thing, they surprise you. Yeah. And, you as the jockey, as the rider, you take that kind of responsibility that if you fall off, you fall off.
Was there ever any part in I'm sure you had it in your head, it's like, I could die, doing this, like, and you constantly did it,
I don't know. I think when you're under, like, just again, I'm now 36. When I was in my younger years, I didn't have that feeling.
No?
I had a lot of falls. I had a lot of accidents of, like I said, horses flipping over. I've had a lot of injuries in the starting stalls as well, because it's a dangerous place. You're in a metal cage, essentially, on the back of a extremely highly fueled animal. And no, never once did I feel like I'm going to die. Sat on bolters. No.
Really?
I wouldn't do it now.
Did you? Why not?
I've got too much responsibility.
You've wisened up. But you know, I mean, we talk about like physically. I mean, we've just talked about physically, like menstrual cycle, the eating, you know, strength. What about the mental side?
Mm.
Because that's like obviously a massive. I've spoken to riders multiple times on and off the podcast who have had an injury.
Mm-hmm.
Say, for example, they've fallen off the horse, they've broken the leg. They then have to have that nervous. Now I'm going to get back on this horse in 6 weeks. So they've got that for the whole 6 weeks. They'll be building that up in their head. Where you've got to be extremely mentally tough to go through all that and then go, yeah, I'm going, I'm riding again today.
I don't think there's a one size answer for that question. What I would definitely say though is it depends on you as a person, and that's very individual. What I would say to anyone who's feeling anxious and nervous about something, who wouldn't be, is to take away the expectation and build your relationship from the ground up.
Yeah.
Build your confidence from the ground up, because in a way, again, I'm going to link it back. These horses, they let us ride them. They're not there to hurt us. So if you're feeling anxious, don't get on the horse straight away. Build your confidence up from the ground up. And then by the time you get on the horse, it's second nature. It's second nature. And again, it's that acting responsibly as the rider that, you know, if I have broken my leg, my balance will be affected. My horse will feel that. You know, I'm sitting differently. My seat bones will be different. My aids will be different. Now, the horse won't judge you for that, but they're going to feel it. So the more work you can do off the saddle as the rider in movements very similar to a horse, the more confident you will feel, so that all of that anxiousness in the body is a somatic response. It's your body going, the last time we did this, this happened, and now I'm here. But it's all wiring in your brain. You can rewire your brain by doing corrective movements, by working with someone who's an experienced coach to help you in that. But I definitely feel there's a lot of this that's not being spoken about, where riders almost feel a little bit embarrassed to admit that they have changed. I mean, like if I think about the horses I used to ride and someone said, would you get that now? I would say no. And it's a common thing, oh, you've lost your nerve.
No.
And it's like, well, maybe I have lost my nerve, but you know what? I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm not here to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think as equestrians, as people, it's okay to say you can't do it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make you any weak or ashamed or anything. Actually, you will feel more proud of yourself when you do admit it.
Yeah.
And your horse will feel it. She said that. Okay, we've taken away that expectation. She's going to build a rapport with me from the ground up. I like it.
That's cool. I like that. I like the. I also like with my daughter. She's very much. She doesn't get panicky about any competitions or anything like that. But I always sort of try and say to her, well, you're not going to do this competition and it be done. You know, it's not. You're starting here and you're ending here. That's it. This horse, you know, I know it doesn't happen 100% of the time, but this horse will be with you until they go to horsey heaven. And you're going to have a long, long journey with these horses, and all these goals that you're hitting is along the way. It's just part of the journey. And it doesn't matter how long it takes you to get to your first goal. Take you 10 years. But I think falling off or having that block, I don't expect to be getting 80% in your dressage test the next time you go to a competition. You know, it doesn't matter. But I think a lot of people put a lot of stress on themselves, is what I'm trying to say.
You know what's mad as well? It's the reason I never thought I would say this, because I was brought up in that, like going to pony club, competing, and I remember actually having anxiety about not being able to ride again. Almost like, who am I without being a rider? Like, am I, because it's all I've known my whole life.
Identity.
Is riding, yeah. Who am I? And those shifts that I shared earlier about those shifting perspectives made me realize that, like, there's more to riding, but B, like, the lessons come just being in the horse's presence. You have to ride them. But also, a shift in me came was when I did my first advanced dressage test to qualify to do my first PSG, it was so much pressure I put on myself to qualify. I had to get, I think it was 63 to get the qualification to get the PSG, to do my first PSG. So I was like building up in my mind this, I must get it, I must get it. And we did the test, and I think we scored about 66 or 65%. And you know, it was weird. It was like, after I got that, like nothing changed.
No.
And I remember sat looking at the horse. I was like, what was I expecting as the rider? Like, much pressure on myself to do this test. And even if we didn't get it, we just would have gone out again and tried again. And again, the horses aren't the problem. It's the human. Why are we putting the pressure on ourselves? Because the horses don't care.
No, they're not bothered.
They really
not
don't
bothered.
care.
They think, oh, really again?
They're like, oh, okay, where are we going today?
Yeah. And that's it. It's all, the reason why you're doing it is because you love doing it.
That's it.
Not to get your shiny right. I had someone on, Neil, his name was, and he said, you want a rosette? I'll go and buy you a rosette.
Yeah.
It's like, it's great. And you're doing it because you love doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I think people forget it.
I asked as well a few riders why, and the common consensus I got was it's a feeling of like accomplishment.
Yeah.
So even if you are in the arena on your own and you've been trying ages to get this transition right, and suddenly it works, and you're like, oh my God, no one saw it, did they? Like, damn it. But you feel like, yes, inside, and then you're like, what's the next problem?
Yeah. Move on to the next.
It's the human brain. We're hardwired for it. Yeah.
Well, the news does so well.
Yeah.
Has anything not gone to plan before when you've been in a session or with a client or anything like that?
So if I stick to being the rider side, my first race as a flat jockey, I was the pacemaker. So for those of you that don't follow racing, but we were two horses from the same yard in the race. It was 1.4 miles in Carlisle. And I was told to jump the horse out the starting gates and go to the front and just go. Just sit there. It was my first race. Look pretty, look stylish, and basically setting the pace so that the other horse could come through. Well, what happened? So this is when things not go to plan, because I jumped out and I was in front, and I'll never forget this feeling because I had no control. He was an old schoolmaster in the racing days, so he was about 10 years old. He was looking after me. He was an absolute giant. I was tiny, and coming around the bend. Don't ask me why I did this, but Carlisle has a bit of an uphill and then a downhill slope to the finish. And I came up the bend, and I think I was trying to breathe. So I went, oh, and I felt him slow down. Now, obviously, the pacemaker slows down. The rest of the field slowed down as well. And I just felt him slow down and take a big inhale of air. And as we came on the bend, we just went. And we didn't stop. And we won the race.
Oh. That's not supposed to happen, is it?
That wasn't meant to happen. That was not the plan. I remember it so well because my dad and my mum were there, and I think my dad just put like a little bet on it, thinking no chance, and it ended up being, I must have been like 50-1 or something like that.
Oh, right.
It was a great day, but I remember coming in you get led into like the winner's enclosure, and my eyes were just like,
oops,
what did I just do? Because you have the trainer, the owners, and then the owners of the horse that was favorite to win were there as well. But obviously so it didn't go to plan, but honestly, I was so elated that I just looked over it. But now looking back, I was like, that was definitely not a plan. And they joked about it a few days later back in the yard, but I was like, it's a horse.
Sorry.
I had no control. So yeah, that was a moment that didn't go to plan at all. When
he took that breath in, did you knew he was gonna go?
No idea, honestly.
No?
I genuinely, but I just remember it so clearly because I was just like, I think it's because also he was going uphill and I could actually feel a bit of the contact again. And I just went, oh, there's almost a bit of safety, breathe. And I just remember him almost taking a slower stride, and then the people behind me shouting, because as a jockey, you have to be so careful as to your positioning not to clip heels. So by that, I mean, if the horse in front of you slows down and you're too close and you clip heels, you could injure a rider very badly,
Really?
or a horse. So there are rules of racing that you have to follow. I just remember the people behind me shouting, "Go on, go on!" Did go on, and it ended up being great.
I think it was amazing. That was great. That's cool.
So
That's awesome.
I'll never forget that story.
A lot of people are always, you said you dealt with a lot of clients. Do a lot of people look for quick fixes?
Hmm.
And is there actually anything such a thing as quick fixes?
No. And when I first started out, so one of the misconceptions that people would also come to me for was being a chiropractor. Well, actually, I'll take it one step back. Before I was a chiropractor, I started out as a massage therapist, which gave me the skills and the feeling to be a better chiropractor.
Mhm.
That definitely helped. But what I recognized was when I became a massage therapist, the misconception was, "Oh, are you just stroking the horse? You just stroking the horse?" And I was
I'm
just
paying
like,
you all this money to stroke my horse.
great.
Yeah.
Like, and then it was when I was like, just wait till I get my qualification. And then I got my master's in animal chiropractic, and I got the questions about, my horse has popped its hip out, or it's, because I do dogs as well, it was, my dog has slipped a disc, it can't walk anymore, can you come slip the disc back in? Very incorrect terminology
Mhm.
that is very much negatively or incorrectly associated with body workers, chiropractors, osteos, physios.
Do people think it's like Lego?
I think so.
Is that what it is?
Crack the horse's
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Did you crack it?
Can you
And
just fix this?
I'm
Put this
like,
piece back. Yeah.
But I think, to be fair to everyone who does say these words, it's what we read and see on social media nowadays, right? We see a lot of these movements of chiropractic, which there's many different varieties of chiropractic. American style is very different to the UK style. And we all almost as a human want to hear or see something to believe it.
Mm,
So
mm.
we're almost like, if I don't hear a crack, surely you're not doing anything. And when I first qualified, again, this was my lesson as a human, was I wanted to please. People paid me to do a service. So it was like, you want to make sure that they know that it's working.
Mm.
So in the beginning, I felt I was almost not trying to do it for the horse, but I would almost talk to the owner to show them what I was doing.
Mm.
And then I realized, Nika, just people are in the head, keep quiet and let the work work. Let the work do its work.
Yeah.
So one of my biggest things is I don't believe in quick fixes. I've recognized more and more in my life that keeping things simple is always the solution to your health, to your horse's health, and less is more.
Mm.
So if I get a phone call about a horse that is bucking or rearing, where I start is from the ground up. So I take away tack, I take away rider, and I see the horse's pattern for what it is. If it's bucking without the rider on, I know that it's in the horse's body. If the horse starts bucking with a saddle on, it's got to be the saddle. I know I'm very much dumbing it down, but we have to start thinking about what we are doing to these horses with the pressure we're putting on. And if the horses are showing these behaviors only under saddle, it's got to be those triggers.
Mhm.
We have to start there.
Mhm.
But what I would say as well because a lot of people say to me, chiropractic, can it hurt my horse? Can you do damage? First of all, I'm going to say, look at the size of me, okay, compared to a horse.
That's what went through my
Right.
head.
I'm tiny. But on a serious note, we know how sensitive horses are. So a fly lands on their body, they can flick it off with their skin. Like, they are extremely sensitive animals, and I often find the bigger they are, the more sensitive they are.
Mhm.
Like these big cobs or big draft horses, they're usually the most sensitive ones that I work with. And it's not about pressure. It's not about how much I can treat. It's about assessing the horse and the rider and the management. And what job does this horse need to do? Most of us as riders have weaknesses. We are either right hand dominant, left hand dominant. Most of us are stronger. Most of us are weaker in one side. So I used to have the idea about, oh, every chiropractic treatment needs to be perfect. A horse has to be symmetrical. It needs to have, uh, the perfect conformation for it to be healthy. It doesn't. My line of work now is about function. Is this horse functionally sound for what it needs to do?
Mhm.
Bearing in mind the tack, the rider, the management, feed, the training. Very much a lot of factors that
That's a
come
lot of
into it.
factors, yeah.
Mm,
That is a lot of factors.
mm.
So you talk then about I know there's no quick fixes or anything, but like when do people usually contact you? Like, is there any signs that people should be looking out for, going, and saying, well, yeah, your horse is clearly in discomfort here,
Mm.
like
So
subtly or majorly or
yeah, if everyone wants a real clear, is my horse in pain? Download the Sue Dyson Pain Ethogram. So Dr. Sue Dyson is a exceptional vet, and she's put together. Have you heard about it?
I've heard her name actually. I
Mm.
think we had another guest on who mentioned her,
Yeah.
but I've never really looked at any of the work, to be honest with you.
So she's developed a 24 behavioral ethogram, which goes from the behaviors of your horse's mouth to the ears to the eye to the neck position to everything under saddle. And the data is that if your horse is showing 8 of the 24 behaviors, your
Right,
horse needs a vet.
right,
And that is for someone who really doesn't know what's going on. And actually, I'd say anyone
yeah,
is download the checklist and tick and just count it up. You can count up those, oh, it's showing 6. Okay, it's maybe not there yet, but it's still 6 of the behaviors.
Mm.
Something is starting. Something's starting. But I've definitely, that's one very practical, useful guide people can go and do. I like to ask the question is, before you can know if your horse is in pain or discomfort, know what's normal to your horse. Know what's normal to them.
Mm.
Because it's usually by the time someone like myself is called out where it's my horse is refusing to go forward, or they won't canter on the right rein, or they are bucking, or they are girthy. When you do the girth up and they are tail swishing and they're trying to bite me when I'm doing this, the girth up on the
Yes, yeah,
saddle.
yeah.
I know that there has been a lot of communication before that's been ignored by the horse. So my approach, and um, by the time I'm actually called out, it's usually that they've tried different options, they don't know where to go. And it's because what I like to do is I like to get everyone involved, the team,
Mm.
the vet, the dentist, the farrier, the saddle fitter, every expert that is looking at that horse. Ask them questions, because everyone will start to say something. And the key word I'm looking for is, what is that pattern?
Mm.
And then if I can say, well, has this been looked at? Yes. Has this been looked at? Yes. Oh, has this been looked at? No. Okay, we're going to start here
Mhm.
and we're going to work our way backwards. So every therapist has a slightly different approach to working. I truly believe that you can save a lot of time, wasted energy, frustration, and money by getting a good team around you with your horse. People that want to work together.
Mhm.
Because I don't know all the answers, but I definitely know that together, collectively, we'll get there a lot quicker.
Right.
Mm.
I think that's, but yeah, that's not. I don't think that's an illogical approach at
Mhm.
all. I think that's a very, yeah, quite a decent way of actually looking at it, because I think a lot of what I mean, we've had it here where it's gone. We've had an issue with the horse, and vets come out, and vets like, I don't know,
Mhm.
and then farriers come out, farriers like, it
Mhm.
could be this, and
Mhm.
then we've had the saddle fitter come out, and it's like, maybe it's here.
Mm.
It's like, and you actually, but if you got all those people in the room together, but I suppose that's very difficult as well. Not everybody could get the saddle fitter, the vet, the
Mhm.
farrier all in one room. So would you do you do like FaceTime calls or anything, or
So the biggest thing, and I think one of the questions I ask myself, which is, to wave that magic wand, what
mm,
could we really do to change this industry
mhm,
so we can have pain-free horses, have happier riders,
mhm,
riders could actually be saving money as well, and save frustration, is a teamwork approach. Now, in the ideal world, you're not going to get everyone on the same day coming together because of diaries, because of responsibilities. But it doesn't take much to set up a WhatsApp group.
Point. Yeah.
with everyone in.
Mhm.
It doesn't take much just to, as soon as that barrier's been, if there has been a change to the shoeing, okay, so-and-so has changed this time. The physio's come out, the physio has done this. And not only that, as the owner, you have a record then. You have a record, so
Yeah.
you don't have to be an expert, but you can then start to put this together and say, okay, the physio said that, the dentist said that. And if they're all in the WhatsApp group communicating, it's so much easier for them to go back and say, oh, what did the dentist say last time?
Yeah.
What did the vet say last time?
And it's all
So there
around.
are ways around it.
Yeah.
There are ways. We can improvise without having to have everyone there at the same time.
When you do get these calls, what are the most common issues that come up?
As the chiropractic side?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
your side, yeah.
The common ones I get, now it very much depends on the discipline. So when I work with the show jumpers, it's locking a pole. Suddenly starts to knock a pole,
Mhm.
or the push isn't quite there from behind. It's struggling to pick up one canter lead to the other canter lead. So the right canter is great, the left canter is awful. When I'm working with the dressage horses, the dressage riders are very fanatic. They're very particular
Yes.
about their, which I
Yes.
like.
I'm
They're very
married to one.
detailed.
Married
Yeah.
to one. Yep.
So they will say things like, depending on what stage they're at, but they'll say like, in the half pass to the left, the inside hind leg is not coming. It's very,
very specific.
very specific. And I love that. I really respect that and I love that. And it varies. And then I've got clients as well that will just say, I've noticed that when I get on board, my horse's back is so tight, they're arching their back. Or I've noticed that they just not wanting to take me forward in the trot anymore. The most common one is my horse won't bend to the right.
Really?
Yeah.
To the right?
Yeah.
Not to the left.
Well, why do we think that is?
Go on. Educate me.
So a lot of us do everything from the left.
Yes.
We get on from the left. We
Yes.
lead from the left. BHS standard, we do things from the left. Why don't we do it from the right?
I don't know.
Who
Why?
one day said it's got to be from the left?
I think I actually did look this up a long time ago, and there is a reason why you mount up from the left. Isn't it to do with the sword from back in the day with the soldiers? Is that right?
Yep.
Yes.
That's it. That's exactly it. Male dominated. No, but they were the same guys that said white breeches had to be a thing. It's the same guys. Yeah, it's an old thing, tradition that needs to be busted because we are creating a lot of issues in our horses by doing things from the same side.
So would you then advise to clients to alternate?
Always. Alternate.
Really?
Do your girth up from the right side. Get on from the right side. Then I hear, I can't do that. I'm like, well, how can you expect your horse to bend right if you can't get on from the right side?
Do you know what? I never even thought about that.
It's just
But it's simple. It's like when you
So
go back to it's simple. Why are you getting on from the? It's like why are you getting on from the? Well, I've always got on from the left.
Yeah.
We'll get on from the right. I can't do that.
Yeah.
Like the left quad is just massive.
Yeah. It's like saying I can't brush my teeth with my other hand. But then how can you expect your horse to be symmetrical both sides? How can we as riders? And that's what I'm being playful for what I'm saying, but I genuinely believe this, that a lot of our problems with our horses will get solved if we just start looking at ourselves.
Just think about it.
Yeah.
And just don't always leave things how they were.
No, expect it. Yeah.
I think there is something behind that. I think a lot of the stuff that people are taught now are X amount of years old.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously technology's moved on.
Yeah.
Experience has moved on, education's moved on. But there's some certain things that haven't in the horse world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some things could be looked at, like you've just said then. But then there's other tried and tested method that's worked for years. So they've gone, well, why change it? So no one's ever really looked at it. Is that something else that you're sort of trying to look at with your research?
It just reminded me of, so remember the neck strap story? So for those of us, it's just a leather piece of strap, usually like a stirrup leather that you put around your horse's neck.
Mm-hmm.
And you have one finger in it when you're riding in case something happens.
Yeah.
And you're not hanging on to your horse's mouth. And when I transitioned from the behavior side, I went into dressage.
Mm-hmm.
So riding those horses to dressage horses, Like anything was just really easygoing for me. You know, they'd be like, Nika, would you sit on this horse? I'd be like, yeah, I'll sit on it. Like compared to what I've just sat on, this is, and I remember riding this young Andalusian stallion. He was beautiful, 5 years old. He's a stallion. And I was warming him up with a neck strap on. And the lady said to me, the steward said, you cannot go into into the ring in the young horse class unless you have that neck strap off. It's neck. It's rules. And
Right.
I just said to her, excuse me, I'm on a 5-year-old stallion. And not only that, I'm teaching this horse that I'm not going to hang on to his mouth.
Yeah.
And she said, you will be disqualified if you don't take it off. And that's another situation in life where I'm like, safety over what something's meant to look like.
Yeah, this. It doesn't make sense anymore.
It didn't make sense to me.
No.
And that's was one of the part of the shifts in my mindset where I was like, I'm here for much more than competing.
Yeah.
Because that to me makes no sense.
Yeah. I get like tradition, I get that, and I get things how it's supposed to be, but then why not have a look at it? Okay, well, why can't you have a neck strap? And then someone will go, well, that's not how it's supposed to be. It's like, okay, but why?
But why? Yeah.
And then I don't know. I've never really had the conversation with anybody about it. Like, I can't possibly see a reason why.
Yeah.
But I think because that's how it's always been, that's how it always will be until somebody like yourself will
Starts questioning.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot of that sort of stuff in the horse world. I'm still waiting for someone to make like an automated mucking out machine or something, you know. I know you can get like the ones that you can shovel into, but I'm just amazed that nobody's like sort of gone, right, well, we'll lift it up, sieve it.
It's probably on its way, or it's probably somewhere in Saudi and in Dubai already being created.
But would you actually get one though? Because you like it
Yeah.
in a certain...
It might not be done our standard.
So again, you did mention previously as well about you know, you look at female riders online, right? You work with them, and you discuss about their bodies. So can you take us a bit more down that road? Like what exactly do you discuss with these women, and what are you advising them to do?
Yeah. Well, it all starts with that individual themselves. Like, what are they currently struggling with? So a lot of riders will say to me, this actually goes back to the chiropractic about, does chiropractic hurt? Will it hurt? And often I find when people ask this question, they've never had a treatment.
No, I have, and it's great.
Okay. So that's great, but you know how it feels. So when I work with women and they say to me, usually it's like, I've got no energy. I am feeling really stiff in the morning. I'm anxious, especially if they're in the perimenopausal phase. I don't know why I'm anxious. I just feel anxious. I don't know why. That's the changes going on. So what I do with my women is I actually start by getting them to identify their own body, because I'm not an expert of your body. And that's the biggest thing, is I never want anyone to feel like there's one method that is going to work for you. Because if I have that approach, I believe that I'll be proved wrong, because everyone is so different. But there's one thing that's true, is your body never lies, and your horse never lies either. They don't lie. So if we can learn to listen to ourselves, we then know our body better, which means we'll know our horse's bodies better, because we'll learn how to listen is the biggest thing. So when I work with riders, I get them to understand their bodies first, which means they do some reflective work, which means they do some tracking. A lot of people have a very misunderstanding about tracking. Oh, I've got to track my calories. It's not about that. It's about tracking how you feel, how your symptoms are. And as I said earlier, if you've had a poor night's sleep, what impact that has on how you react during the day, how quick you are as a rider. You'll be maybe a little bit delayed. Your reactions might be shorter, as in you might be slower to react, but shorter to change mood. That can happen if you've had poor night's sleep. If you are not eating enough food as a woman, again, depending on your age, then you could also be experiencing things like stress. So high cortisol. We as humans have a natural boost of cortisol in the morning to get us up, to get things going for the day. Where a lot of riders don't understand is that if you don't lower that cortisol, which is quite hard to do for riders because you're up, you're mucking out, the horses are out. If you're going to competition, it's usually a 4 a.m. start. So you're in the lorry, driving along, drinking coffee, on the go, you're raising your cortisol the whole time. Then you get to the show And then you're expected to do a beautiful dressage test and look calm and relaxed.
Not
But
gonna happen.
inside, you're through the roof with stress. So I teach my riders how to manage that. Also, education around food choices when you're out. Because I don't know about yourself. Again, I feel like there's a very incorrect perception about eating healthy.
Definitely.
So, eating healthy means what? It doesn't mean eating lettuce leaves.
No.
No, but a lot of us assume that. So, I give my riders action on what to eat, when to eat, and how to eat so that they don't even have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
Usually within 7 to 10 days, they notice a change in their energy straight away just because they're fueling better.
Mm-hmm.
Women that struggle with bloat, inflammation, notice a difference within day 14.
Really that
I've
quick?
noticed it's that quick.
Wow.
The bloat goes down. I feel like, I've been told that sometimes it feels like they're carrying this football-sized lump of just bloat in their stomach they can't get rid of. That's usually a cortisol belly. So fun fact for those of us that hate our bellies because we think, oh my gosh, it's just there and it's uncomfortable and I'm self-conscious, especially with riders that all the breeches are so tight.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Can't hide anything there. A lot of it is, this is what I love about our bodies. Your body has decided to put the fat there so it doesn't sit around your organs.
Yeah.
Now that is biological. You didn't tell your body to do that. I think that's incredible.
That's smart.
It's so smart.
It's very intelligent.
And when we recognize that, okay, maybe I'm feeling a little bit, I'm carrying a bit of weight on my belly, but actually my body's done that to save my organs. Thank you, body.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Now it's just my job to eat better, to get rid of the seed oils, and to move better.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty simple.
I totally agree with you. I think a lot, like you said, a lot of people think salad and not eating anything. What I've, again, me personally, I mean, I know I'm not the skinniest of people, but what I did is I lost about 10 kilos,
Congrats.
nearly 2 stone, purely by not eating in between meals. And not eating, like on a Friday night, I'd have like a tube of Pringles and a bag of M&Ms and then wonder why I'm still putting on weight. Because through the week, I was really, really good. But then on that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'd just go, blah, gone.
Wait, I have a name. It's called the Weekend Warrior.
Yeah, that's me. But not anymore. But then as soon as I stopped, but it's little changes like that.
Yeah.
People think, well, I've been good all week. I remember I had a friend once and he had a takeaway or something like that. And then he finished the takeaway, and then a minute later he had like a celery stick, eating a celery stick. And I was like, what are you doing? He goes, well, I've just had that big pizza, so now I'm just minusing out the calories with this celery stick. I said, it doesn't work like that. It's like a bowl and you filled in the calories. Like you can't minus the calories out. But yeah,
if only.
I was like, if this works, you're a genius. Like it doesn't work like that. But I think a lot of people have got a misconception about it, and I think if you can educate people like you're doing,
yeah,
especially around certain times, if you're a woman, can immensely help your performance and how you feel and your health as well.
Imagine a world where our children, because obviously we're past that stage now, but we can definitely help the younger generation, is when you learn to ride, you learn to connect your body. And we start teaching girls from the minute they have their period. Like, for example, when I started my period, it was the most frightening thing for me because my mum had a hysterectomy really young, so she didn't actually tell me about what was going to happen. Not her fault. But I remember being at school and being like, what's just happened? Like, what is this coming out of me? And it was always like a negative association to not like bleeding and to not like the changes. But what about having a period party?
Okay, I've never
as
heard
a
that
girl?
before. That'd be cool.
What would have been celebrating the fact that you are now bleeding and actually, as young kids that go to Pony Club, teaching kids from that age that, okay, some weeks you feel like this, it's okay.
Yeah.
I think we can start to do that now with education of children. We'll have better relationships with horses going forward. I really, really do.
I do. That's a really good idea because, like, you're coming of age, like it's a celebration.
Celebrate it.
Yeah, but I think there's like a taboo about it. Like you don't talk. It's like I know I'm going off on things, but it's like sex.
Oh,
It's like
totally.
It's one thing. Like the great. I can't remember who said it. It was like it's one thing that everybody does, but nobody can tell you or talk to you about how to do it. Like you've just got to go and figure it out by yourself.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
off you go.
That, which is part of human nature, and also going to the toilet.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, don't talk about going to the toilet. But it's like, everyone does it.
Yeah. It's private. Yeah, no, but everybody does it.
Everyone does it.
Like, why can't I talk about
It's
what
like
about
a
if I'm doing it
shameful
wrong?
thing.
What about if I'm doing it wrong? It's like, it's like, yeah, I think those sort of communication lines are with my children, nothing's off the table. Like, obviously,
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about that sort of stuff now that they're 9.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm more than happy when the time comes to talk about it. But I know that like my mum and my grandma would have gone, well,
Yeah.
and my dad, it's like, but
Things
no,
are changing.
We don't talk about that sort of stuff. Like, figure it out by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's so important. And I can really vision as much emphasis being played on women, girls understanding their bodies at a really early age and starting to track early, and what effect that's going to have. I really feel that if we put more attention into it, we'll see a ripple effect, a really positive ripple effect.
Do you know what you were going back to then? I know we discusses it as well, especially around the menstrual cycle. The majority of the horse world is women. No escaping it. But it's like I said, nobody really talks about it. But you think it'd be sort of an open thing with other women, like on a yard or wherever it is. But it's just not discussed. Maybe need to change the mentality and the view of that
100%.
somehow like maybe having a pony club badge.
How cool would that be?
That'd be really. I mean, I don't know what it'd look like.
Period badge. I'm there. I'm in the ladder phase. Stay away. Right.
And then the mums that go, they maybe could have like
perimenopausal badge. We're warriors.
But like just to get people talking about it, and I don't think it has to be so. I know I'm laughing about it, but I'm trying to shed a bit of light on it.
But we need to, because I'm even going to challenge and say, like, a lot of women that say are like my mum's age or even a little bit older, the education's moved on. Like, okay, it's not been spoken about, but nowadays it's starting to ripple through. But we have research to show, we have CT scans of women's brains showing the changes. So now busting these myths about women saying, oh, it's horrendous to go through it. You're already preconditioning the brain to have a negative association with the change. But if we have the research and we have the lifestyle changes and we have the support, and like you said, we can actually bring about community and laugh about it as a collective, you'll breeze through a lot easier.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. And the base is there already as well, especially in the horse world.
Yes.
Like it's already there. It just needs that little flick or that little gate opening.
I like the badge idea.
The badge idea.
Yeah.
Well, Pony Club, if you're watching.
Pony Club badge for a period, for a perimenopausal woman. And then like a little, instead of a red rosette, can we get like trophies for the postmenopausal woman? Do you know what I mean?
No, I think it'd be something really good to maybe start at a young age. Because then, like, obviously, like my mum, and that's, that sort of era generation probably aren't going to change their ways, but maybe we could start it for Aya, my daughter's age, for when they come of age and that sort of stuff happens, they can openly talk about it instead of being. Yeah.
I've just got to say though, to all the women that are the postmenopausal years, I work with a handful of ladies 65 or plus, incredible shape and incredible change to their body very quickly.
Yeah.
So a lot of women come to me at that age saying, I'm past it. What can I do? Oh my gosh, you are in a prime position, because not only have your hormones simmered down, there's a lot of research to show that you become the woman that you were meant to be. And it is so empowering. So don't think that age is a number. Age is a level.
A level.
It's a level.
I like that.
Embrace that level.
I like that. That's really, really cool. Is there anything in the equestrian industry that, if you had like a magic wand, that you could change one thing in it, what would it be?
So, two things. At first I thought, do you know what? Remove competition altogether. Remove this need for pushing, pressure. But then I also know that as someone who grew up doing like pony club games and having that competitive team spirit was actually quite enjoyable and very rewarding. But I think where competition can really be negative is, for example, the young horse classes we have now for horses that must be jumping this height at this age. You know, as someone who works with the body, and the more research we have coming out is that the horse's skeleton doesn't mature until much later. So is this why we're having so many pains and issues in our horses? We're pushing them too young too soon. So if I could wave a magic wand there, it would be to take away this need for age-restricted competition in horses. I don't think it's fair to the horse. I think it's a purely greedy human thing that we're doing for which is creating pressures on riders, breeders, and I don't think it should be there. That would be one thing I would demolish, and it's only the horse that's suffering.
Yeah.
And this goes into the horse racing industry as well when you have two-year-old racing. Like, as someone who has worked in racing and has very many memorable experiences and has taught me so much, across the board, every discipline I've worked in, I can see a lot of issue when it comes to competition. It brings about greed. It brings about pressure that is unnecessary for the horse, because horses, as we said in a very joking way, they don't really care.
No.
They don't really care. But one of the biggest things, because realistically, we're not going to take away competing, I believe would be teamwork. When we work together, no matter what industry you're in, something magical happens where the owner has clarity, has more certainty, has more of a plan of action, which is what I find a lot of owners come to me with. I've spent £10,000 on a vet bill with my horse is still unrideable. Where do I go from here? And that to me is unacceptable on many accounts because A, the horse is suffering, the horse is still uncomfortable, but B, that owner has spent a hell of a lot of money for what? Now, I'm not blaming the vets here because the vets unfortunately have a lot of pressure on them. They have a lot of need to have to fix a problem because they are the legal caregivers. So as a therapist, you can't diagnose. We can only find restrictions that we can refer back to the vet, or we can find weaknesses, but we cannot diagnose. So if we took more responsibility as a collective, everyone coming together, sharing knowledge, that for me would be the magic wand to a lot of problems. And I think it would give the owners, you guys, who owns the horse and wants to be with your horse more, wants to ride your horse, go for a nice canter, go to some competition, would give you more freedom and certainty instead of frustration, worry. And I find that there are so many more worried owners nowadays that don't understand their horses because of the lack of teamwork.
Yeah. Well, the knowledge is power, isn't it?
That's it.
A cliche saying, but it is true. And a lot of people get like, what's the word? When they keep it all to themselves, they guard
It's
it.
an ego, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's an ego. And as someone who's my height and female, being a very male-dominated therapist industry, so a lot of the vets have been males. There's more females coming through now. I did find in my early stages of being a therapist very intimidated to talk to a vet.
Really?
Why? I don't know, because they're a human being.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I find a lot of my owners will go to the vet, come back more confused. Okay? And this is why I developed the AAA approach, which is give owners a checklist of questions to ask. So they go to the vet, because it's nerve-wracking. You take your horse there, you really want an answer, and you raise your expectations of this vet's going to solve everything. And the vet's trying their best. Also, side note, vets don't know everything.
No.
As I don't know everything as a chiropractor. And this is why the teamwork works, because I think there's a lack of knowledge from vets to know anything above the stifle or above the elbow. The horse's anatomy is so vast. And it's the reason I think today there is a lack of clear diagnostics when it comes to horses, because if your horse has a problem in its hock or in its back, that's not the solution. That's all connected. So it's going to be in different areas of the body as well. And that's why when we work together as a team, bringing that approach, you're going to save yourself so much worry as an owner.
Yeah.
So my advice to anyone who says, I'm in that situation, find a team. Don't be afraid to speak up. If you're not happy with what I'm saying as a therapist, your vet's saying, you can say, listen, why has my horse got arthritis? Why has it got this pain? It's not good saying to me, oh, your horse has got changes in its stifle. Why does it have changes in stifle? Is it farriery? Is it conformation? Is it the training? Is it the management? What's going on? We as owners need to know that, and therapists need to know that, because at the moment, the way the law stands in the UK, the vets have the final say, which is great, but they don't know everything. So when we work together, the owners can have more certainty.
And creating, like you said, like a simple WhatsApp group is
Simple WhatsApp group.
Yeah. It'll share a lot of the information on there.
Don't be afraid as owners, if you're not happy, to speak up.
Is that so? This AAA is that to help with this side of it?
So I put it together. It's kind of like my way of showing people that you can help your horse any situation by you keep asking questions, you keep assessing the patterns, and the most important thing is you adjust one thing at a time. So a lot of us throw the kitchen sink at the horse when we think something's wrong. We change the bit, the tack, the supplements, the feed, and then we go, what worked? What didn't work? I don't know. So it's a bit of an easy, systematic approach for any horse owner to follow to get there quicker. And it applies even when you're at the vets. It applies anywhere.
I think that'd be really, really helpful to have, because I think a lot of the time, if you don't ask the right questions, you don't get the right answers, do you?
This is it. And I get it. It's very overwhelming to go to a practice where the vet is there, seen as the
big dog.
The big dog to sort everything out. And to be honest, they're human as well. They're probably thinking, oh my God, I need to find a problem here because this owner's traveled all the way. So again, strip away who they are and look at the person as a person.
Yeah.
It's a human to human.
Yeah. Yeah. There'll be a lot of pressure on them as well, I'm at the time. And not just with your horse or whoever's seeing them. God knows how many horses they're actually seeing, and on that pressure as well. It's a very stressful job. I
think the latest stat was surprisingly alarming, the amount of suicide in vets nowadays.
Really?
It's gone up a lot, and it is something that we should take seriously. And I believe that this is all going to change with the industry changes, because imagine, like, if I could redo my training as a therapist, we should be training alongside vets to start conversations. And then vets can also understand where we're coming from. So it's a two-way thing. But what happens is you have all these organizations, the vet industry, the chiropractic, the osteopathy, the saddle. None of them are coming together.
Yeah.
But we're all doing the same thing. We want to help the horse.
Yeah, your aim is all exactly the same, yeah.
Like, it would have been incredible to have done my training, but then gone to a vet practice as part of the course to learn what the vets want from us, what they need from us. How incredible that would be. Like, I think it can happen. It's just people coming together and talking about it, as we're doing today.
Changing that whole thing of getting on from the left.
Oh,
that's what it is.
Get it from the back.
Get it from the back. Jump on, come on, parachute. Who cares? Whatever. Well, we've covered a lot. But is there anything that's coming up in the future for you, or have you got any big ideas coming up, or is there anything else that you could tell us?
So the book, I hope is to have it done by next year.
Amazing.
On a real mission just to get more science behind it. The theory works. So for any female rider, any age, this works. I do offer this one-to-one, only with a select amount of riders a year, because it's very personal. And it's very much, the thing about AI nowadays is anyone can chat GPT pretty much anything. You're getting a lot of information downloaded. The key thing that AI will never, ever replace is the human connection and understanding. Like the true human to human.
I agree.
So when people say to me, well, surely we can just chat GPT it, please educate yourself, because you have the knowledge is power. But for human to human support, accountability, that's where a coach and mentor comes in. The other thing that I am really looking forward to is so what date are we now? We're coming in
We are September 26th.
So I'm not sure when this is being released, but I do have a female rider course.
Amazing.
It's group because women really respond well working together.
Mhm.
And that is releasing in October, and it's an 8-week, get back in the saddle,
Do you know
get fit.
when in October?
So it'll be middle of October.
Okay, I'll try my best if it's
But
now.
if not, I can, what my plan is to release all of these group coaching every 6 months.
Amazing.
Because a lot of us have the intention, we want to do it. We're just so lost in the noise of social media. And when you have a clear plan, and as I said earlier, know what to eat, when to eat, how to eat, you have to think about it.
Mhm.
So if you want to lose weight, you'll lose weight easy because you're eating the right foods. If you want to get back in the saddle, you'll do it easy because you've got the right exercises for you personally.
Yeah, and I will definitely have it edited for the middle of October, 100%. Whether or not it's out there, I don't know. No, I will do my best. But that sounds amazing. And you know what else is really, really nice is that you are seeing a problem and you're going, okay, well, I'm going to try this solution, which is really, really inspiring, I suppose, in that sort of way, because a lot of people will go, well, this is the problem. You know, have you ever heard the saying, there's two people in a room that's on fire? There'll be one person running around saying, the room's on fire, the room's on fire, the room's on fire. And then the other person's trying to figure out how to get out of the room.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're doing. I think you're trying to put solutions. Okay, it may not be this solution. It may not be the next solution. It might be the 10th solution down the line that you come up with. But at least you're trying to change the industry and improve people's well-being and lives, and riding and horses. All in one.
I would love to leave a legacy of creating a shift in this industry where women recognize the power of their cycle, and horse owners around the world know that they have the knowledge to help their horse by starting with themselves. Like, if I can get on more podcasts like this, if I can speak, and if I can speak to industries to start to just create a dent in this, because this isn't in it for me. I don't have to be the person doing this. We can do this as a collective by speaking up for each other and speaking up for the horse that has no voice. Yeah. Because that's why we do it, right?
Definitely.
We do it to have more fun ride. We do it to have more connection.
That's why we're all here.
That's why we're here.
No, I agree with you. Well, to finish off, I hope you don't mind, I have some quick fire questions that I've researched that a lot of people ask when it comes down to horse chiropractic sessions and what they ask about it. So the first one is, again, we could probably dive into this and make another podcast out of these questions, but if you could just give us a quick question, and if it's a quick answer, and if it's just there's no quick answer for that, then just tell me to shut up and I'll carry on. So the first one is how many chiropractic treatments will my horse need?
How long is a piece of string?
Okay, next question. How long does a chiropractic session take?
So me personally, they last between 30 to 60 minutes, depending on what I'm finding.
Okay. Will the treatment hurt my horse? Is it painful or risky?
So any pressure to a horse is risky. Will a treatment hurt? My intention is never to hurt a horse, so I'd rather do less than more. And if I feel like a horse will respond in a negative way, I'd rather not do the adjustment.
Okay, awesome. This is great. You really had a good answer in this. Can every horse be adjusted / when is chiropractic not appropriate?
So when is it not appropriate? We have a set of non-negotiables as chiropractors, which we never adjust. And one, if the horse is in pain that's not been seen by the vet, we don't adjust. If the horse is in a certain trimester of the pregnancy, we don't adjust. If they are showing signs of neurological problems like wobblers, we don't adjust. So there are strict non-negotiables when it comes to chiropractic. And the biggest thing is, especially here in the UK, vet permission before you treat.
Right. Okay. Did not know that.
Hmm.
See, I'm educating myself here. This is great. Does the horse need a rest day after adjustment?
In my opinion, yes, everyone is slightly different and depending on what we've treated. Though we have got research to show that, especially treating certain parts of the spine where the saddle sits, that after treatment, that area can actually grow in size. So it doesn't mean everything has just wires growing. It's because you've applied a pressure to an area that was contracted. There's more circulation to the area, so everything is released depending on what you've treated. So usually you need a day off to allow the body to adapt to treatment. In my opinion, after a chiropractic treatment, there should be a set of corrective exercises to help the body adjust to what you've done.
So the next one was, how often does my horse need to be adjusted?
Depends on your amount of schooling, competitions, and depending if they have any pathology going on.
Okay. Now, obviously, this goes out to the whole
Hmm.
world, but mainly in the UK. So, obviously, do you travel the whole of the UK?
Yes.
Oh, okay, brilliant. Well, this my sort of next question might, be helping your competition a bit here. But how do I choose a qualified equine chiropractor? What credentials should I look out for?
The biggest giveaway is if they don't ask for vet permission, it's a big no no. As any therapist, according to the Veterinary Act as it stands, I know it's going to be changing. Before you have a treatment, you need to have the vet to say yes.
Okay, awesome. And any credentials?
Well, there's different levels.
Mhm.
So I am a level 7 chiropractor. In terms of credentials, your vet will want a referral form, and that's usually then how they check the credentials associated to that person who's treating. You get a lot of people nowadays that can go and do a massage course in a day and
Mhm.
say they are qualified.
Oh,
But again, if they're not asking you for vet permission, it's a big, risky no.
okay. Do you need to combine chiropractic with any other therapies, vet, physio, massage?
Always. The body is holistic. And sometimes, in many cases, I will ask myself, why am I adjusting this joint? Is there something else that I can be doing before I apply this pressure?
Okay. What should I do before slash after a chiropractic session?
So, depending on how much treatment the horse had and how they responded, water, they tend to drink a lot of water after a treatment. And again, depending on what you've treated, they'll make specific exercises like they need to be turned out for a certain time, they need to have so much time off, they need to do groundwork, or in other cases, if they're going to competition, they just need this much warm-up time compared to normal. It's very adaptable.
Mhm.
And again, a sign of a good therapist, happy to say this, is the amount of aftercare after treatment.
Right. Okay. Brilliant. And the last question, which was the most searched for, was, how soon will I see results?
Depends on what the initial problem was. Mm. But there are no quick fixes.
No quick fix. It depends on what you called out for.
And remember, when your body, because your body is adapting to your environment, if you go and apply a pressure to the horse's body and change nothing else in the environment, it's more likely going to respond back to its environment.
Right.
So change the environment, change your exercises, change the pressure, and the horse will adapt.
Hmm. Well, that was it. That was the 10th question.
Awesome.
So, honestly, this has been a really, really incredible podcast and episode. I've really enjoyed speaking with you, and thank you so much for sharing into the depth you have done, and your knowledge, your experiences, your stories. You're clearly an extremely passionate person when it comes down to, well, to all what we've discussed here. But I really, really do wish you the best of luck with all the research that you're doing. I'm really excited to see what the results are. So you'll have to come back on and tell us about what you found.
100%. Looking forward to it. And thank you for having me.
No, thank you so much.